Chapter 186. Xiaofan and his companions were assigned to a certain floor in the middle of the mobile city. Only after entering the mobile city did Xiaofan realize how big it was. Just this floor alone had a street that was more than 100 feet wide. The marble floor was as smooth as new, making it look luxurious. Flowers and trees were planted on both sides of the street. There were endless flower beds decorated with colorful butterflies and bees flying among them. There were also exquisite layout, elegant environment, and garden buildings with small bridges and flowing water. It was extremely graceful. The air was filled with a fragrant smell. It was like makeup, but also like the moving body fragrance of a young girl. On both sides of the street, there were some taverns, wooden pavilions, and even pill shops and weapon shops. They also sold top-grade true qi spirit stones and other things. Whether it was the tavern or any other shop, there were enthusiastic middle-aged men and women in charge of reception. They were all people at the true qi realm, but their cultivation was not very high. Most of them were at the second or third level of true qi. They all had one thing in common: a formal smile, thoughtful etiquette, and a friendly reception. However, if you wanted to interrogate them, it was impossible. Xiaofan and his companions enjoyed a free meal in a tavern, and then wandered leisurely on the street. Xiao, outside the mobile city, auspicious birds would occasionally fly past. Their feathers were extremely bright and beautiful, and they emitted crisp and joyful bird cries. They were harmless to humans and animals. There were even some apes and cranes walking around the streets, not afraid of people. The mobile city was flying, but people didn't seem to feel anything. It was calm. "Wow, boss, it's really comfortable here." Fatty Zhu sniffed the fragrance in the air. "There's a woman's fragrance." TSK, damn Fatty, you're quite wretched." Mo Qingtong mocked. Fatty Zhu laughed dryly and quickly changed the topic. "Boss, what do you think of this place?" "It's very comfortable. It makes people forget their stress and worries." Xiaofan thought about his words. It feels like a leisurely vacation. If it wasn't for the fact that the third stage is about to arrive, I would definitely enjoy it. I might even stay here for a few months. That's right, this place is like a self-sufficient small world. However, the people here are hypocritical. He seemed to be attentive when dealing with people, but he always kept them at arm's length. In the tavern just now, I asked the waiter a few questions, but he cleverly avoided all of them, Xiaofan said helplessly. "Forget it. Don't expect to get any information about the third stage here." Xiao Yunrong shrugged. "Didn't the chief examiner of the second round, Chen Shifeng, say that the venue for the third round is in an extremely beautiful place?" PFFF. Big sister is so childish. You still believe the words of the chief examiner? More than half of the participants died in the second round, and now there are only about 3,000 people left. The third round will only be more cruel and terrible. Under natural selection, I'm afraid only about 1,000 people will survive. Mo Qingtong's expression gradually became a little grim. It is said that hundreds of devil heroes will be born in this trial. If I'm not wrong, there will be a final round of assessment after the third stage. Oh? Miss Mo, do you mean that there are only 4 rounds of the devil hero trial this time? Xiaofan was stunned. This is just my guess. Mo Qingtong smiled sweetly at Xiaofan. At this time, a group of vigorous men and women came from the opposite side of the street. All of them were strong and tall, and their flesh was shining as if they were bathed in holy light. They seemed to be the younger generation from the great wilderness. When they saw Xiaofan, they stopped at the same time and looked at him strangely. Some of the men even looked fierce. The young man at the front was wearing a royal robe, on which there were many ancient divine beasts, such as Pai Xiu, Sky Dragon, 5-color Luan. They were vivid and lifelike, like living creatures. They emitted a heart-palpitating murderous aura as if they could jump out and eat people at any time. The young man was surrounded by golden clouds and intertwined bone texts. True Qi rushed out of his head and turned into the phantoms of ancient beasts such as Swanni and Tao Tai. With a slight movement of his body, there was a violent tornado raging and the wind and clouds surging. His momentum was no weaker than that of the geniuses from the Devil Hero region. Xiaofan, that young man seems to be from the royal family of a mysterious ancient country in the great wilderness. He's no small matter. Mo Qingtong whispered in Xiaohan's ear. Xiaofan nodded slightly, but his expression did not change as he walked straight ahead. His companions quickly followed behind Xiaofan. The pupils of the youth from the great wilderness constricted. When Xiaofan and the others walked past him, he spoke indifferently. People of the 4 regions, you can give that red card to this prince. This prince is willing to exchange a few jars of ancient vicious beast blood with you. A red card could be used to obtain special treatment in the 3rd stage of the test. It was a trump card that could help one pass the test. I won't trade. Xiaofan didn't even look back as he led his companions away. The eyes of the young man from the great wilderness flickered with coldness, filled with killing intent. The scene of tens of thousands of beasts contending for supremacy flashed past his eyes. It was extremely desolate and his aura was so imposing that it could shake the heavens and earth. Tsang Dragon Crown Prince, this person from the 4 regions is extremely arrogant. He actually rejected your request. It seems like we should find a chance to let him witness the killing methods of the children of the great wilderness. A young man in beast clothing said fiercely. He was able to kill the arrogant members of the Wuxia region and thinks that he is unparalleled among the younger generation. This prince will let him understand one thing. The children of the great wilderness are not weaker than those fellows from the Wuxia region. Alright, this prince will remember this guy. The Tsang Dragon Crown Prince's eyes flashed with hostility as he led the crowd away. In an elegant restaurant on the side of the long street. On the 2nd floor. A yellow-clothed man and a black-clothed man sat opposite each other and drank wine. Their gazes retracted from the long street. That young man seems to be from the southern region. He actually hid his strength well. He didn't hesitate to offend the group of geniuses from the Wuxia region to take the lead and obtain the red card. He's in the limelight for a while. The black-clothed man sneered. He. Tang Feipeng, the purpose of us participating in the Wuxia selection this time is to play with the newbies. That young man is dazzling and must be full of ambition now. He thinks that he will definitely become a Wuxia, right? If we can step on him, that will be great. I really want to see his unwilling and desperate eyes. Ha ha ha. The yellow-clothed man couldn't help laughing. Xian Qi, that person is not simple. He can kill the geniuses of the Wuxia region one after another. His combat strength is too abnormal. Even if the 2 of us join forces, I'm afraid that we are no match for him. It is very likely that we will be killed by him. For us, this is also the last chance to become a Wuxia. Don't go too far. The black-clothed man Tang Feipeng said cautiously. Pfft. Tang Feipeng, you are too meticulous. You and I both like to play with newbies. This is the greatest pleasure in this life. Don't worry, although that young man is enchanting, he is still a newbie after all. We have all participated in the previous Wuxia selection and accumulated indescribable experience. It is not comparable to those young masters and ladies from the Wuxia region. As long as we plan properly, it is not impossible to play with that young man to death. The yellow-clothed man Xian Qi laughed sinisterly. If we don't play this time, we won't be able to in the future. Besides, that young man has now become the target of public criticism. Not only will the geniuses of the Wuxia region want to kill him, but the other contestants will also plot against him. Therefore, his situation is actually very dangerous. What we need to do is to find the best opportunity to strike and directly destroy him. He must have a lot of secrets on him. When the time comes, we will get them and they will become the foundation for our rise to become outstanding Wuxia. The black-clothed man Tang Feipeng thought for a few breaths. His eyes flashed with a touch of excitement and he nodded heavily. Okay, we will lock this young man as our prey. Xiaofan and his companions walked to a place similar to a courtyard. The wooden door was open, and there were many flowers and trees planted inside, as well as a large number of bonsai. It was indescribably poetic and picturesque. Well, we will stay here for the next few days. Xiaofan nodded with satisfaction and stepped in. Soon, he called out to his companions. There are more than a dozen rooms here that are unoccupied. We will occupy them. Come in. Fatty Zhu, Mo Qingtong, and the others all stepped in. 1 room per person. Choose at will. Xiaofan smiled. He liked the environment here very much. It was quiet and clean. Brother Xiao, along the way, it seems that the other participants are very unkind to you, as if they want to scheme against you, Mo Qingtong said with a slight frown. Fatty Zhu laughed foolishly at the side. They are jealous of Boss Xiao. Think about it, in the second round, the only red card was taken by our Boss Xiao. Who wouldn't be jealous? As the saying goes, geniuses are envied. Anyway, since things have come to this, let's take things one step at a time. Different situations call for different measures. Xiaofan, on the other hand, did not care. He quickly picked an antique house and started yelling. The bed is so big, Mo Qingtong couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. Then, she also chose a room and began to shout. We can take a bath. It's so comfortable. Just like that, the 5 of them stayed in the courtyard for a full 5 days. Usually, they would only leave the courtyard and go to the food stalls on the street when it was time to eat. The rest of the time, they would stay in the courtyard and cultivate. Fortunately, no one came to disturb them, allowing Xiaofan and the others to enjoy a few days of peace. In the past few days, Xiaofan also seized the time to replenish the true qi that he had consumed and did some homework to nurture his saber intent. After a few days, Xiaofan's spirit soared to the sky. He was in high spirits and full of vigor. He was full of confidence for the upcoming 3rd round. 5 days later. The sound of the morning wind resounded throughout the mobile city. Attention, all participants, we have arrived at the examination venue for the 3rd round of the Devil Hero trial. Please prepare to enter the examination venue. Boss Xiao. We've arrived at the examination venue. Fatty Zhu shouted in the courtyard. Xiaofan walked out of his room with a refreshed look on his face. Let's go. Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong, and Huafan all dressed neatly and walked out valiantly. The 5 of them left the courtyard together. Every participant living on each floor was ready to go. They ran across the long street and prepared to enter the examination venue. Thousands of participants stood on the huge balcony on each floor and stared at the examination venue. The examination venue was floating in the air. However, it did not move. It stood in the air as if it had taken root, like a city in the sky. To everyone's surprise, the chief examiner of the 2nd round, Chen Shifeng, did not lie this time. The examination venue for the 3rd round was not the demonic land that was filled with evil spirits and was close to hell, but a beautiful city in the sky. There were undulating mountains in the city in the sky. The peaks were beautiful, and the palaces and pavilions were dotted with waterfalls and flowing springs. It was a very peaceful, pure land. Peach blossoms bloomed everywhere, and the fragrance of flowers assailed one's nostrils. The blue sky and white clouds stretched for thousands of miles. The peach blossoms were intoxicating and infinitely fragrant. The warm spring breeze was so affectionate. Colorful petals floated all over the sky. They were fragrant and soft, making one's heart feel numb. The most captivating scenery was the flowers that were hundreds of feet long, blooming like the divine flowers of legends. Beautiful spirits seemed to be brewing in the flowers. There were also auspicious clouds and auspicious qi running through the east, west, north, and south, lingering around the city in the sky. Fallen petals were everywhere, and a rain of flowers was falling. This place was really like a fairyland. There was not a trace of murderous and ominous atmosphere. It was very peaceful. It was even to the extent that any evil and vicious thoughts were blasphemous in this place. All the contestants' gazes were somewhat dazed. They were infatuated with this dreamlike fairyland. The moving city slowly approached the city in the sky. Ha 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 ha, I didn't lie to you, did I? I said that the examination venue for the third round would be a fairyland of peach blossoms, like a dream. Now that you've seen it with your own eyes, you should believe me, right? Chen Shifeng laughed proudly. It's possible that the difficulty of the third round will be much lower than the second round. It can't be, right? Boss Xiao, this place is so beautiful that I can't associate it with death and slaughter. But the Hex Hero preliminaries are inseparable from death, not to mention this year's competition, which has the highest death rate. What will the third test be? Fatty Zhu looked confused. Yeah, this third round is completely confusing. Xiaofan also couldn't understand. He activated the spirit turtle true qi and sealed the demon emperor's palm tattoo on his left arm and the demon eye between his eyebrows tightly. He frowned. But I believe that the Hex Hero trial will definitely be more difficult than the previous one. Therefore, we must not let our guard down in this third round. After a pause, Xiaofan said subconsciously. In this fairyland that's as beautiful as a painting, there's most likely a fairy-like woman. Oh right, the chief examiner of the second round, Chen Shifeng, said that the chief examiner of the third round is a peerless beauty who is as beautiful as a fairy. Brother Xiao, you must be looking forward to it, right? Mo Qingtong's watery eyes rippled as she glanced at Xiaofan. Her tone was a little jealous. At this moment, in an instant, thousands of colorful lights shot out from the city in the sky and connected to the moving city. Every ray of colorful light transformed into a rainbow bridge that shone brilliantly and flickered like flickering light and passing shadows. There were exactly 3,340 rainbow bridges, which was exactly the number of contestants participating in the third round of assessment. The next moment, a gentle, wind chime-like female voice sounded. Welcome to the third round of this year's Hex Hero trial. As you can see, there are 3,340 rainbow bridges leading to the city in the sky. Please choose one. Remember, each person can choose one rainbow bridge. 2 or more people can't choose the same rainbow bridge at the same time. This is the rule. Those who violate the rule will be eliminated. The voice was like spring water, trickling gently and warming people's hearts. It made people who heard it feel a sweet feeling rising in their hearts. The tone was light, not coquettish, not fierce, not soft and weak. It was pleasant to listen to, like the high mountains and flowing water, making people unable to have the will to disobey. They were willing to do as she said. Soon, there were hundreds of contestants, fascinated, each chose a rainbow bridge and stepped on it. Let's go, we also choose a bridge. Xiaofan took a deep breath. I think the third round of assessment has already begun at this moment. Chapter 187. There were a total of 7 rainbow bridges that connected the moving city and the beautiful city in the sky. Each participant would take one. Unspecified currency from this point on, the third stage of the Hex trial had officially kicked off. Phew, Xiaofan spat out a mouthful of turbid air and randomly chose a rainbow bridge. He stepped on the one that extended to his feet. Boss Xiao, are we going to each choose a bridge and go our separate ways? Don't Boss, you have to protect this fatty. Fatty Zhu scowled miserably, he actually wanted to step onto the rainbow bridge that Xiaofan had chosen. Fatty, do you want to be eliminated? Mo Qingtong shouted. It's fine if you want to be eliminated, but don't drag Xiaofan down. Go to the side. She pushed Fatty Zhu and then stepped forward, stepping on the rainbow bridge that was adjacent to Xiaofan. Oh. Fatty Zhu was startled for a moment. That's right. If two contestants choose the same rainbow bridge, they will be eliminated. Thinking of this, he seemed to have come to a sudden realization and hurriedly chose one of his own, which was not far away from Xiaofan. Xiao Yunrong and Huo Wu looked at each other. Sister Yunrong, good luck. Sister Huo Wu, good luck too. The two girls took a deep breath and chose a rainbow bridge respectively. Soon, on the rainbow bridge, there was a contestant standing on each side. Uneasiness, nervousness, curiosity, expectation, suspicion, excitement. All kinds of emotions lingered in the hearts of these contestants. Xiaofan looked left and right, and finally his gaze fell on the rainbow bridge under his feet. In fact, it could be called a single-log bridge. It was too narrow and narrow. It was soft to step on, like cotton. From the beginning of the rainbow bridge of the mobile city to the sky city on the other side, it was about 200 steps. However, none of the contestants moved rashly. All of them stopped and held their breath. Chen Fengchen crossed his arms and floated in the air, watching this scene with interest. The woman's voice that was as gentle as water rang out again. Contestants, please take 100 steps forward. Remember, your pace must be neither fast nor slow. While walking, you cannot use true qi, leap, or bounce. He could not take a step more, nor could he take a step less. Violators will be eliminated, let's begin. The contestants were stunned for a moment before they carefully walked forward. Every step was as if they were walking on thin ice, and they followed the rules, afraid that they would make a mistake. It was as if he was really walking on a single-plank bridge with fear and trepidation. If he was not careful, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. Everyone was counting silently in their hearts. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 70 steps, 80 steps. Xiaofan walked at a normal pace. In his mind, there were a lot of guesses, but he still couldn't figure it out. Why is the third round of examination so weird? As for what the test is about, I still don't have the slightest clue. Just as Xiaofan reached the 100th step. Then, something strange happened. An inexplicable force instantly seized Xiaofan, causing all of Xiaofan's acupoints to be sealed, and the power of his body to be confined. Even the demon monarch's palm tattoo on his left arm was restrained and could not be used at all. Not only that, the space around him seemed to be compressed, causing Xiaofan to be unable to move an inch. Unable to move forward, unable to retreat, he was stuck in the middle of the rainbow bridge. There was a terrifying and strange feeling of a piece of meat on a chopping board. What's going on? Xiaofan was shocked. Not only Xiaofan, but all the contestants were the same. This. What's going on? I can't move an inch. All of a sudden, all the contestants booed. All of the true energy in his body was sealed, his body was locked, and he couldn't even move. This feeling was very scary and indescribable. It was like there was no way out, and even his fate couldn't be controlled in his own hands. Xiao. Boss Xiao. Fatty is so scared. Fatty Zhu was on a rainbow bridge next to Xiaofan. His legs were trembling, and he looked at Xiaofan with a sad face. Calm down. Xiaofan quickly adapted to this sudden change and said in a deep voice. At this time, a gentle female voice sounded again. Please don't panic. The third round of the Hex trial has begun. From now on, anything that you encounter will be part of the content of the assessment. As soon as the voice fell, a red glow rose into the sky, the divine light floated, the clouds were steaming, and a faint song sounded from all directions in the sky. Under the heavy curtains in the hall of Macho, the night is thin and long, the life of a goddess is originally a dream, the little ant has no husband, the storm does not believe that the water chestnut branch is weak, who taught the fragrance of the moon dew? There is no benefit in longing, there is no harm in melancholy, it is pure madness. This song was gentle and low, the lingering charm was like the sound of nature, making people forget about their worries and want to continue. For a moment, all the doubts in the hearts of all the contestants disappeared, and their hearts were completely calm, free of dust and dirt. Above the city in the sky, a huge lotus appeared. It was holy and unparalleled, with millions of petals stacked on top of each other. It was spectacular, like a treasure lotus mountain. The treasure light swayed, dreamy and mysterious. At the top of the lotus sat a graceful woman with jade-like skin, especially crystal clear. She looked to be in her 20s, and she was a peerless beauty that could cause the downfall of a city. However, her eyes were filled with the experience of going through many trials and tribulations, causing her entire person to have an invincible charm. Her whole body was surrounded by colorful clouds, and her whole body was overflowing with color, making her jade body look like it was carved out of jade, surging with mist and ethereal charm, with a kind of noble and inviolable temperament. She made people unable to see her cultivation level, but in her watery eyes, there were faint traces of time and space. It gave people the illusion that even if they attacked her at close range, they would absolutely not succeed. Thousands of contestants, thousands of pairs of eyes, were staring straight at her. They held their breath. The chief examiner of the first round was a grumpy old man with a lame leg. The chief examiner of the second round was Xiaofan, who was known as an extreme psychopath. Originally, everyone thought that the chief examiner of the third round would be an unparalleled demon who was even more vicious and perverted than Xiaofan and the lame leg. Never would they have thought that it would be such a peerless and beautiful goddess. This caused every contestant to have great doubts about the content of the third round. The temperament of this goddess was very gentle, and even had a kind of feeling of pity for the state of the universe. No one dared to believe that she would think of some cruel test questions to torture the contestants. "Hello, contestants. I am the chief examiner of the third round, Leng Ruyu," the woman said elegantly. Xiaofan whistled frivolously, his eyes filled with strong admiration as he looked at Leng Ruyu, a little infatuated. All of a sudden, bang! 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 In the sky, there were densely packed explosions. Hundreds and thousands of magic eye stones, from all angles, recorded the situation of every contestant on every rainbow bridge. The atmosphere became slightly tense, like a taut bowstring. Monster Hero Pagoda. Level 29. A large number of images floated in the hall, thousands of rainbow bridges, thousands of contestants, and Leng Ruyu sitting on a lotus platform. The third round of assessment was about to begin. "It's her?" Crow King was slightly surprised. "I didn't expect the third round of assessment to be hosted by her. Now it's not very fun." The heavenly devil old man's face was as dark as water. Wuxia Tower. Extremely high level. A group of old antiques also watched the images and whispered to each other. "The third round will be hosted by Leng Ruyu? Oh no! This is not good. Why would a woman like Leng Ruyu be the chief examiner of this Wuxia trial? It's unfair." An old antique said slightly exasperatedly. "Well, everyone, watch the competition carefully. The entire schedule of the Wuxia trial is not something we can question or participate in. It's even more impossible to change it." Another old antique said worriedly. "Before the assessment officially begins, Leng Ruyu would like to ask everyone, what do you think is the most important factor for a contestant to pass the Wuxia trial, which is known as the most cruel in history?" Leng Ruyu asked with a smile. "Strong combat power." A young man from the great wilderness immediately said in a clear voice. "Indomitable will and indomitable spirit." A young man from the East region said after thinking for a moment. "Those who can continuously improve during the assessment should be qualified to become Wuxia." A talented young man from the Wuxia region said in an experienced and prudent manner. The contestants had different opinions. Strength, realm, combat power, means, will, comprehension, talent. They said a lot. Every one of them seemed to be reasonable. Xiaofan didn't say a word. He glanced around and accidentally saw Xiaofan and Xiao Yunrong, who were full of anxiety. Suddenly, a sudden thought seized Xiaofan. Senior sister Xiaofan and Xiao Yunrong shouldn't have participated in the main competition with their strength. They should have been eliminated in the South region preliminaries, but they were lucky and didn't encounter any seeded contestants in the preliminaries, so they were lucky enough to break through. Then, relying on luck, they passed the first round. The second round, I think the most important factor should be luck. Xiaofan blurted out. As soon as he said this, the audience suddenly quieted down. Many contestants looked at Xiaofan with disdain. This person is really useless. The Wuxia preliminaries are all about combat power and psychological quality. He actually wants to rely on luck to become a Wuxia. Oh. Leng Ruyu turned her eyes and looked directly at Xiaofan from the thousands of people, with a faint smile at the corner of her mouth. Luck? Young man, do you think that the most important factor to participate in the Wuxia preliminaries is luck? Well. Xiaofan touched his nose a little embarrassedly, hesitated for a moment, and still said. Senior examiner, I think that whether it is participating in the Wuxia preliminaries, cultivating true qi, or even hunting demons, luck is the most important factor, followed by combat power, intelligence, psychological quality, and so on. Of course, it's not pure luck that can make people reach the top in one step. Realm and strength are equally important, but I think luck is ranked first. Above everything else. Huh. On the other side, Chen Feng heard Xiaohan's words and suddenly closed his eyes, with a thoughtful expression on his face. Some contestants immediately nodded involuntarily. Luck. Leng Ruyu completely burst into a smile, with an expression of admiration in her eyes. Well said. Luck, that is, fate. Luck was the key to everything. If you have good luck, you will not be harmed by any calamities in your life. Even if there are calamities, you will be able to turn misfortune into good luck and rise rapidly. If your luck is bad, you will not be able to escape death. Among you, some of you will definitely become Wuxia in the future. Luck is extremely important to you, it's a matter of life and death. In the battle against the demons in the future, besides combat power and experience, luck is also very important. This time, the third round of assessment is the assessment of luck. This round can roughly predict your future luck. Of course, this is only a very vague prediction. Some people can change their fate and reverse their luck. The third round, assessment of luck. Those who have bad luck in their life will be eliminated, those who have good luck will stay and enter the next round. This time, there is only one assessment in the Wuxia preliminaries. In other words, if you can pass this assessment of luck, then you will successfully enter the fourth round, which is also the last round. This is the second to last round? That's great. If you pass this round, you will enter the last round. You have a high chance of becoming a Wuxia. But isn't the assessment of luck a little too mysterious? How can you judge a person's future luck? Ryu cultivates the great destiny divine technique and simulated a game of fate. Now, all of you can participate. Leng Ryu smiled. Remember, Ryu's cultivation is still low, so she can't accurately predict the fate of the universe. She can only make a vague evaluation. Among you, there will definitely be someone who will go against the heavens and steal fate. But first, pass this third round. Sometimes, you will get what you want, but don't force it. The third round. Game of Fate. Activate. To be continued. Chapter 188. Game of Fate? Testing luck? Almost all the contestants were dumbfounded. The third stage of the test was indeed too mysterious. Fate was intangible, ever-changing and difficult to grasp. Moreover, the past could be predicted, but who could predict and grasp the future? Even immortals couldn't predict their own fate, right? Now the contestants were not sure. If it was fighting in the ring, breaking through the secret realm, walking through the maze, or even guessing riddles, they could all be seen and touched. At least they could control it. But fate was too mysterious. At this time, Leng Ruyu's gentle and elegant voice sounded again. Contestants, you are now in the middle of the Rainbow Bridge. Go forward 100 steps and you will reach the Sky City, go back 100 steps and you will return to the Mobile City. One going forward and one retreating, the situation is completely different. Now, you are all bound by the power of fate. If you want to move, you need to throw the die of fate. As soon as she finished speaking, dense divine light and runes rushed out of Leng Ruyu's head, intertwining in the air and forming a huge die. It was a 6-sided die. It was engraved with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 numbers. The game of fate is very simple. Use your mental strength and soul power to hit the die of fate at will. According to the points you get, you will decide your steps. For example, if you get 1 point, you will move forward 1 step. If you get 2 points, you will move forward 2 steps. If you get 6 points, you will move forward 6 steps. There is no technique to hit the die of fate. In fact, the points you get are simulated according to your luck. In the end, the contestants who can move forward 100 steps and reach the Sky City will be considered to have passed the 3rd test and will be qualified to enter the 4th test. They will be able to compete for the position of Devil Hero. As soon as she said this, the contestants gradually understood some of the rules of the game. Every contestant was now in the middle of the Rainbow Bridge. If they walked forward 100 steps and stepped into the Sky City, they would be considered to have passed the test. But every step had to be based on the points of the die of fate. They couldn't walk randomly, and they couldn't walk at all. This test indeed had nothing to do with one's combat power, realm, willpower, etc. It was completely a test of luck and character. Relatively speaking, this kind of illusory test might be very unfair to participants with tyrannical combat strength. Now, the geniuses of the Devil Hero region all looked indignant. Besides the eldest senior brother who'd been comprehending the profundities with his eyes closed, all the other geniuses had gloomy expressions. They were confident that their battle prowess was the most outstanding among this batch of participants. If they fought with their swords and spears, they would be able to firmly control the probability and initiative of passing the stage. However, the game of fate made it so that they could only resign themselves to fate. They were unable to display their strength. No matter how strong they were, if they were unlucky, they would still be eliminated. As for the participants who were originally weak, they were all secretly delighted. Participants, you can treat the 100 steps before you as a microcosm of your destiny. There would be all kinds of fortuitous encounters, all kinds of disasters, and all kinds of tribulations. Some participants might have a difficult fate, while others might have a smooth journey. Leng Ruyu smiled. Immediately, participants, please take a look. At this moment, a white card appeared in Leng Ruyu's slender hand. It seemed to be carved out of some gemstone and was about the size of a palm. Talismans and seal characters flowed on the card, emitting a mysterious and unfathomable aura. The white card is a reward card. As you walk, you will be rewarded with a white card. The reward card will reward you with advancing 1 to 20 steps. Pooh! After saying that, Leng Ruyu flicked the white card, causing it to float in the air. Then, she took out a black card. The black card is a punishment card. Once you obtain it, you must retreat 1 to 20 steps. The purple card is a treasure card. After obtaining the purple card, you can obtain all kinds of treasures according to the description on the card. including true Qi divine technique secret manuals, treasured weapons, treasured medicines, and so on. The yellow card is a calamity card. Once you obtain it, you will encounter terrifying tribulations, such as Black Nightmare Wine Tribulation, Heart Demon Tribulation, Boulder Tribulation, Lee Fire Tribulation. After obtaining the calamity card, you must personally endure all kinds of tribulations. If you can resolve them, then it's fine, and you can continue this game of fate. If you can't resolve them, then you might die from the tribulations and tribulations. The orange card is a meeting on a narrow path card. To obtain this card, you must fight against the participant specified on the card. The winner will continue, and the loser will be eliminated. Moreover, the winner can devour the loser's luck. The dead gray card is a bad luck card. To obtain this card, you will immediately die and turn into ashes. This is the most terrifying card. It is even more terrifying than the calamity card. The blue card is a banishment card. Once you obtain it, you will be banished from the examination ground. It is equivalent to instant elimination. The gold card is a supreme ruler card. You can obtain a chance to control another person's fate. In other words, the participant who obtains this card can kill any other participant at will. The red card is a lucky card. To obtain this card, you can eliminate negative effects that are detrimental to you once. For example, you can eliminate tribulations, bad luck, banishment, and the killing of other participants. Pft. 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 As Leng Ryu spoke, she flicked her fingers, and the cards with different colors and effects were all sent floating in the air. Everyone, please familiarize yourself with the functions of these cards. Leng Ryu smiled faintly. Thousands of participants looked at the various cards floating in the air. White, reward card; black, punishment card; purple, treasure card; yellow, calamity card; orange, meeting on a narrow path card; dead gray, bad luck card; blue, banishment card; gold, supreme ruler card; red, lucky card. There were a total of 9 types of cards. In the next moment, Leng Ryu started chanting, and her expression became extremely solemn and solemn. In an instant, numerous talisman markings that twisted like dragons and snakes bloomed out from her body, and dense rays of light radiated out. White light, black light, violet light, yellow light, orange light, deathly gray light, blue light, gold light, red light, game of fate. Leng Ryu chanted. Her tone was obscure and deep, like the voice of fate. Pft. 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 Countless runes and all kinds of light rays intertwined and fused, forming many cards. They were densely packed and endless. Swoosh, 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 the cards swarmed out and entered every rainbow bridge. They were so deeply integrated into it that the participants could not distinguish them. However, there was no doubt that there were all kinds of cards hidden in every rainbow bridge. Maybe it was a reward card, a bad luck card, or a banishment card. Buzz 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 buzz, every rainbow bridge flickered with misty and beautiful light. Soon, the rainbow bridges were numbered. From left to right, Rainbow Bridge 1 to Rainbow Bridge 3340. Xiaofan looked at his position. He was standing on Rainbow Bridge 1511. Then, the game of fate officially begins. Rainbow Bridge 1 participant, the first to hit the die of fate. You will receive points. Leng Ryu's voice was tinged with excitement. Let me repeat for the last time. This game of fate was simulated by Ryu using the Great Fate Divine technique. It cannot accurately deduce everyone's future luck. It is only a rough estimate. Please do not feel too much pressure in this game. I believe that everyone has the ability to defy the heavens and seize fate. Just treat this as a small game for the third stage of the exam. The game of fate officially began. The participant standing on the first rainbow bridge from the left was a youth from the southern region. Xiaofan did not know this person, but they had met a few times. This youth from the southern region was very nervous. He panted heavily and only closed his eyes after a dozen breaths. A wave of mental energy mixed with soul aura directly hit the die of fate. Hua, the die of fate floating in midair, completely absorbed the mental energy and soul aura of the youth from the southern region and began to spin rapidly. After a few breaths, the rotation stopped. One side of the die of fate shot out a ray of light, projecting the number on this side onto the first rainbow bridge. 6. The youth from the southern region actually hit a 6. He could advance 6 steps. A deep and cryptic voice immediately resounded through the heavens and earth, "Please advance 6 steps." Who? The youth from the southern region felt his body relax. The condensed space opened up again, causing the shackles and restraints on him to disappear. He regained his ability to move. With a heart clenched, the youth from the southern region advanced 6 steps with the most standard steps. During these 6 steps, he did not receive any cards. After 6 steps, the space solidified again, causing him to be unable to move an inch. Who? I'm quite lucky. Although I didn't receive any reward cards, I didn't receive any frightening or unlucky cards either. I'm steady and steady, advancing step by step. I'm still 94 steps away from passing the stage. The youth from the southern region let out a long sigh of relief. His tightly knitted brows relaxed. The game progressed extremely quickly. After the first contestant finished, the second contestant followed closely behind and used his mental energy and soul aura to hit the die of fate. The corresponding number would appear and determine how many steps to advance. This game of fate looks very simple. But it does contain all sorts of dangers. In fact, the third stage is definitely much more difficult than the second stage. After all, in the second stage, the initiative was completely in my hands and I could advance or retreat at will. But in the third stage, it's very passive. Xiaofan thought. Just like that, the contestants used their mental energy to hit the die of fate one by one and advanced according to the number on the die. Up until contestant 239, no cards appeared. The game continued uneventfully. The contestants who had yet to hit the die of fate watched the game for a while and simply closed their eyes to rest. They waited quietly. It wasn't until contestant 304 that the scene became somewhat magnificent. This was a genius girl from the Wuxia region. Her mental energy hit the die of fate and a number 2 appeared. This was not a very good number and could only allow her to advance 2 steps. In the end, when she took her second step with a face full of disappointment, the rainbow bridge under her feet suddenly fluctuated and a white light shot up into the sky. A white card floated above her head. White card? She stepped on the reward card. The contestants from all directions became alert. The heavy and obscure voice that contained the aura of history and fate spoke unhurriedly. Congratulations, contestant. You've received a reward card. This reward card will reward you with 20 steps forward. Please advance 20 steps forward. 20 steps. The disappointed face of the girl from the Wuxia region suddenly revealed surprise and joy. She stepped forward step by step and advanced a total of 20 steps. In other words, she had advanced a total of 22 steps and was 78 steps away from passing the stage. It seems that my life's luck is extremely prosperous. The girl clenched her fists tightly and began to look confidently at the other side of the rainbow bridge. Behind the girl from the Wuxia region was a youth from the East region. His mental energy hit 5 points. After taking 5 steps forward, a purple light rushed out from his feet. The purple card evaporated. Congratulations, contestant. You've received a treasure card. This treasure is a Yin Yang longevity pill. After consuming it, it can increase your lifespan by 3 60-year cycles. Just as he finished speaking, a scarlet pill slowly descended from the purple light. The youth from the East region reached out and grabbed the pill in his hand. He said in ecstasy, Ha ha ha. Treasure card. I told you that I, Yelu Chu, am blessed with good luck. It seems that passing the third stage is predestined. Ha ha ha. Interesting. This game is interesting. Boss Xiao, this game is getting interesting. Fatty Zhu's eyes shone with a mischievous light. If Fatty can also step on the purple light and obtain a treasure card, that would be great. Heh. Xiaofan laughed involuntarily. It's best if I don't get any cards at all. After a few rounds, I can smoothly advance 100 steps and pass the stage. This is the ideal ending. Calamity cards, banishment cards, unlucky cards, each one is more unlucky than the other. Not long after, it was a youth's turn to hit the die of fate. His luck was actually not bad. He hit 6 points. After taking 6 steps forward, a deathly gray light appeared under his feet. A deathly gray card emitted a deathly stillness. Unfortunately, contestant, you've drawn an unlucky card. Your fate is very rough and unfortunate. It shall be erased from here. What? Unlucky card? No. I can't be so unlucky. The youth from the great wilderness let out a scream of horror and despair. The next moment, pft! The deathly gray unlucky card shot out a beam of light and swept across. In a breath's time, the body of the youth from the great wilderness was crushed into pieces. His soul was annihilated and he died without a complete corpse. The entire audience was in awe. This is too terrifying. That youth from the great wilderness's flesh shell was incomparably strong and his entire body was flowing with crystal light, but in just a moment, he turned into dust. It's simply unstoppable. Xiaofan was also anxious in his heart. Damn it, if I step on some unlucky card later, wouldn't I die as well? After the youth from the great wilderness was erased, a few other contestants stepped on the banishment card and punishment card. There was even a wave where 5 people stepped on the unlucky card and were erased one after another. All of a sudden, the game was enveloped in a layer of gloom and desolation. To be continued. Chapter 189. All the contestants had now witnessed the cruelty and helplessness of the game of fate. Yes, helplessness. Especially the contestants who stepped on the bad luck card. They had no way to save themselves and were killed right in front of their eyes. This was truly cruel to the extreme. They were like chickens and ducks on the chopping board. In the first round of the game, contestant number 1287 had just hit the die of fate, and there were already 128 bad luck cards and 49 banishing cards. The person who was currently in the lead and the closest to the finish line was a barbarian woman from the great wilderness. She had advanced 34 steps, which could be said to be an impressive achievement, but she was still 66 steps away from passing the test. She did not dare to say that she had passed. It was too difficult. Contestant number 1288 hit the die of fate. His head was wrapped in a piece of white cloth, completely concealing his hair. His temperament was otherworldly, and his entire body shone with the brilliance of jewels and treasures. There was a kind of celestial charm to him, and his expression was calm and steady like a mountain. There was even an air of transcendence to him. His eyes were closed as if he was comprehending some kind of supreme mystery. He was the eldest senior brother recognized by many geniuses of the Wuxia region. Eldest senior brother. Many masters said that you're a deity who descended from the heavens. Your physique is like an immortal's, and there was a phenomenon when you were born. You have the foundation to become an immortal. You're a genius that only appears once in 10,000 years. You'll definitely be able to pass the stage smoothly. No tribulation or disaster will be able to affect you. The geniuses of the Wuxia region shouted when they saw their eldest senior brother, the spiritual leader of their side. Eldest senior brother's face was calm. He closed his eyes and nodded slightly. He was about to release his psyche wave to hit the die of fate. Oh! This young man has some ethereal aura and is blessed by providence. He'll definitely be someone in the future. Let's see if there's anything wrong with Ryu's great destiny divine technique. Chen Fading Wind crossed his arms and looked at eldest senior brother with interest. If this person grows up smoothly, he's destined to be an all-powerful hero in the future. His potential is even higher than that of Xiaofan. He's walking on the bright path, while Xiaofan is walking on the unconventional path. Even Leng Ryu placed her attention on Su Chen. Eldest senior brother separated a wisp of psyche wave and hit the die of fate. Hua, the multicolored light spun, and when the die of fate stopped spinning, a precious light shot into the rainbow bridge under eldest senior brother's feet, revealing a 5. Please take 5 steps forward. Eldest senior brother took 5 steps forward at a steady pace. He was calm and composed, elegant and otherworldly. The 5th step, Hong, a ray of white light shot out from eldest senior brother's feet. A white reward card bathed in white light floated in the air. Congratulations participant, you have received a reward card. This reward card will reward you with 13 steps forward. Please take 13 steps forward. Eldest senior brother's face was as calm as an ancient well, and his aura was smooth and smooth. His eyes were closed, and his footsteps were light and agile as he took 13 steps in a row. Just as his right foot landed on the rainbow bridge, another white light soared into the sky. Congratulations, participant, you have received a reward card. This reward card will reward you with 18 steps forward. Please take 18 steps forward. All the contestants' eyes bulged, and they all kept quiet out of fear. He had stepped on 2 reward cards in a row. This luck was simply heaven-defying. I've said it before. The moment our eldest senior brother was born, he was extraordinary. A phenomenon descended from the heavens and he has an immortal bearing. A girl from the Devil Hero region said with an infatuated expression. Eldest senior brother closed his eyes and continued taking 18 steps forward. When he finished his 18th step, another white light rushed out. Congratulations participant, you have received a reward card. This reward card will reward you with 20 steps forward. Please take 20 steps forward. No way. He has already taken 56 steps. He stepped on the reward card 3 times in a row. What kind of luck is that? Fatty Zhu was shocked. Xiaofan was also a little dumbfounded. According to head examiner Leng Ryu, these 100 steps are a microcosm of a person's life. Prosperity and decline, honor and disgrace, rise or fall, can be roughly calculated from these 100 steps. This fellow hit the reward card 3 times in a row and crossed 56 steps. How amazing is that? He will probably soar in the future. After eldest senior brother took 20 steps, a miracle happened again. White light poured out. Congratulations participant, you have received a reward card. This reward card will reward you with 19 steps forward. Please take 19 steps forward. Eldest senior brother was so calm that it made people's hair stand on end. This was the 4th time he had stepped on the reward card. Judging from the luck of the previous 1287 contestants, the probability of stepping on the reward card was not high. Stepping on 2 reward cards in a row was simply rare. Only one person had done it. However, eldest senior brother did not stop. Every time he took the last step, he would always step on a reward card. It was as if he had practiced it in advance. This could be called a miracle. Eldest senior brother. Eldest senior brother. Eldest senior brother. The geniuses of the Devil Hero region all shouted together. No way. He continued to move forward and is now on the 75th step. He's only 25 steps away from passing. That's possible? Mo Qingtong was dumbfounded. Could it be that this person stepped on some kind of luck? I don't believe he can do it for the 5th time. Mo Qingtong's words were just halfway through when she suddenly choked. Eldest senior brother stepped on the reward card for the 5th time. The white light rolled like a tide. Congratulations participant, you have received a reward card. This reward card will reward you with 20 steps forward. Please take 20 steps forward. Eldest senior brother's footsteps did not stop. He strolled leisurely on the Rainbow Bridge. He looked like an immortal and stood out from the crowd. He was like a dragon returning to the sea or a tiger roaring in the forest. 5 steps left. 5 steps left. 5 steps left. Almost all the contestants roared as if they were on steroids. They wanted to verify this miracle. His luck is really great and he's above all living beings. Chen Fengchen was moved. This person has the quality of becoming an immortal. Ruyu has never seen such good luck in my life. Leng Ruyu was intoxicated. Fatty is convinced, the last 5 steps, he can pass in one go, Fatty Zhu stuttered. Boss, theoretically, this person will definitely be a demon in the future. His luck is second to none among the thousands of us. It's almost invincible. However, Fatty believes that boss luck is not worse than his. It's hard to say. Xiaofan said indifferently. When eldest senior brother reached the 95th step, an earth-shattering miracle happened. White light gushed out and the reward card appeared. Congratulations, contestant. You have obtained a reward card. This reward card will reward you with 10 steps forward. Please take 10 steps forward. Eldest senior brother only needed 5 steps to pass the test and reach the Sky Castle. Now that he had stepped on a reward card that allowed him to take 10 steps forward, it was more than enough. What was rare was that eldest senior brother, who had created a miracle, still had a calm expression. He did not seem surprised and was extraordinarily calm. He slowly stepped onto Sky City. Boom! Endless rays of light and auspicious chi flowed through the north, south, east, and west, lingering around eldest senior brother. Tens of thousands of rays of light, flowers fell from the sky, and golden lotuses appeared on the ground, causing eldest senior brother's aura to be like the sun in the sky. Congratulations, congratulations, the first contestant to pass the 3rd stage has appeared. Leng Ruyu nodded repeatedly. Young man, if Ruyu didn't make a mistake in my deduction, then your future will be filled with good luck and luck. Good, good, you can rest for a while. The other contestants, continue the game. Eldest senior brother nodded slightly. He closed his eyes and sat cross-legged like a saint who did not eat the food of the mortal world, inviolable. All the contestants looked at eldest senior brother with eyes that were almost worshipping him. This person was too monstrous. He had stepped on the reward card 6 times in a row and passed the stage as easily as drinking water and eating. This guy is powerful. Xiaofan nodded repeatedly and mumbled. But he's too pretentious, Yaoxia Pagoda. The 29th floor. Isn't this too monstrous? Xiao Mingchu looked at the floating image in the hall and pointed at eldest senior brother who was sitting cross-legged. Sect master, with this kind of luck, his future cultivation will be at a tremendous pace. He will be a dragon among men and no calamity will be able to affect him. He even has the possibility of becoming an immortal. This person will definitely rise in the future. I know a little about Leng Ruyu's Great Fate Divine Technique. It's not a small game, it is indeed a profound divine technique that can calculate a person's luck. Heavenly Devil Old Man sighed. I didn't expect such a shocking beauty to emerge from this batch of youngsters. His future achievements will far surpass us old antiques. Dark Old Man frowned. Leng Ruyu's Great Fate Divine Technique has not yet reached the perfect realm. Legend has it that this strange technique that seizes the heaven and earth is a kind of immortal technique. It must be performed by an immortal, and at the cost of one's lifespan, one can calculate the future. Sect Master, what do you mean? Dongfang Qin asked. In theory, this young man's future will be brilliant, but it doesn't mean that he can't be killed. In fact, there is also the possibility of him dying young, but it's much smaller than others. Dark Old Man smiled faintly. We can't be too superstitious about Leng Ruyu's great fate divine technique. Wuxia Tower. A very high level. A group of old antiques. Ha 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 ha. That was great. Garen's fate is so magical. When we picked him up in the great wilderness, there was a vision in the sky. There was a phantom of an immortal passing by, and the treasure light soared into the sky. At that time, we guessed that Garen was probably the reincarnation of a legendary immortal. In this way, Garen will become a peerless hero that will stand for thousands of years. It's certain that his achievements will surpass ours. His future will soar to the sky. His luck is likely to affect us, so that we can all benefit from it. Maybe, we will also obtain immortal fate? Ha ha ha. Garen is really our best disciple. It's not in vain that we spent a lot of effort to cultivate him. No one can compete with him in this year's Wuxia tryouts. The bad luck caused by the death of more than a dozen disciples was swept away. Now, this group of old antiques were all in high spirits and overjoyed. The game of fate continued. At this time, it was Fatty Zhu's turn to hit the die of fate. After Fatty Zhu, it was Xiaofan's turn. After Xiaofan, it was Mo Qingtong, then Xiao Yunrong and Huafan. Now, all five of them were nervous. It's Fatty's turn. It's Fatty's turn. Mommy, Daddy, I'm so nervous. How's Fatty's luck in the future? Fatty Zhu's fat face was flushed red as he trembled. Fatty, don't be nervous. Calm down, calm down. Quickly hit the die of fate. Your luck has always been good. Xiaofan encouraged him. Okay, boss, I'll hit it. Fatty Zhu directly released a wisp of mental energy mixed with his soul aura. It hit the die of fate and a 5 appeared. Fatty Zhu slowly took 5 steps forward. When his last foot landed, he didn't step on any cards. Phew! Fatty Zhu heaved a sigh of relief as if he had collapsed. It's alright, it's alright. I didn't step on those damned unlucky cards. Next contestant, hurry up and hit the die of fate. Leng Ruyu reminded indifferently. Brother Xiao. It's your turn. Mo Qingtong looked at Xiaofan nervously. Xiaofan, you'll definitely be fine. Xiao Yunrong clenched her fists tightly. Junior brother Xiaofan, in the first and second stages, your luck soared to the heavens. In this life, you will definitely have a flood of good fortune. We all believe in you. Hua Gang's face was flushed, and his breathing quickened. Wuxia Tower. On the 29th floor. Wu Hao, Old Man of Heaven's Devil, Zhu Ganglai, Xiao Mingchu, Dongfang Qin and Fong Ling all stood up. Sect Master, I'm very nervous. Xiao Mingchu licked his lips. Junior brother Xiaohan. I wonder what will happen. Phew! Xiaohan spat out a mouthful of turbid air. My luck has always been pretty good. Xiaohan separated a wisp of mental energy and directly struck the die of fate. To be continued. Chapter 190. Xiaohan sent out a wisp of his spirit force, which was mixed with his own soul aura, and hit the die of destiny. This article is from Hua. The die of fate began to spin, just like the wheel of fate rolling on the ground. How is my luck? Xiaohan held his breath. He was also nervous. And now, besides Xiaohan's companions, thousands of pairs of eyes were staring at Xiaohan. The reason was that Xiaohan was too famous. In the second test, Xiaohan defeated everyone and obtained a red card. He was rewarded by the chief examiner, Chen Shifeng, and he was also the prime suspect for killing so many geniuses of the Devil Hero region. Xiaohan should also be one of those monstrous geniuses with extremely good luck. Could he be like that guy just now, stepping on the reward card and easily passing the test? I think it's very likely. Damn it, I can't accept this. This guy was in the limelight in the last test. If he does it again in this game of destiny, how can the younger generation of the true martial continent survive in the future? Let me tell you, Xiaofan is already somewhat famous in the southern region. He was born as a living target of the Pure Rain sect, and he obtained heaven-defying opportunities step by step to reach where he is today. It is said that 2 years ago, the famous devil hero Great Sun Emperor and the Dragon Bone Saint Saber joined hands to hunt him down, but they failed to kill him. Don't you think his luck is good? What? Born as a living target? That's too lowly. Really too lowly. He's simply a nouveau riche. No wonder I don't like him. He doesn't have the bearing that a disciple of a sect should have. It's completely the face of a villain intoxicated by success. If a live target can suppress us and become a demon hero, then the heavenly Tao is really unfair. Alright. I think you guys are just saying that the grapes are sour because you can't eat them. You're completely jealous of Xiaofan. Shut up, all of you. Let's see Xiaofan's luck. If he really has great luck and successfully completed the Rainbow Bridge and reached the other side, then he's destined to become a big shot in the future. This is the will of the heavens. No matter how much you say here, it won't change anything. Of course, to be honest, I also don't like the rise of such a small figure. He indeed lacks grace in his bones. The geniuses of the Devil Hero region looked at Xiaofan with hatred and resentment. Everyone was hoping that Xiaofan would step on the unlucky card and be killed. Wang, the die of fate rolled out a magnificent light that shot into the rainbow bridge beneath Xiaofan's feet, revealing a 1. A deep voice resounded through the heavens and earth. Please take a step forward. In an instant, Xiaofan's body relaxed, and his imprisoned body regained the ability to move. No way. Just one step, and it's only 1 point. Xiaofan was in a daze, cursing his bad luck in his heart. He unwillingly took a step forward. Damn it, there are still 99 more steps before I can pass. If I keep playing like this, when will I reach the end? Right at this moment. As soon as Xiaofan's feet touched the ground, the entire rainbow bridge trembled and a yellow light soared into the sky. A yellow card appeared, and it was densely packed with runes, and the word treasure rolled on it, emitting an extremely dangerous aura. Yellow card? Xiaofan swallowed his saliva. I fucking stepped on a yellow card? This is a calamity card. 3 calamities and 9 calamities, all kinds of calamities will destroy everything. I only fucking took 1 step, and I stepped on a yellow card. Damn it. Dear participant, you have obtained a calamity card. The calamity on this calamity card is Extermination Starlight Calamity. You will be baptized and crushed by billions of Extermination Starlight. The calamity will last for 1 hour. I hope participant can successfully pass the calamity. Extermination Starlight Calamity. As soon as the voice fell, a divine light swept Xiaofan up into the sky. A crack was torn in the void, and Xiaofan was sucked into it. The crack closed. It should be a temporary space, and it was filled with endless Extermination Starlight Calamity. It was going to ravage and torture Xiaofan for 1 hour. Now, the rainbow bridge that belonged to Xiaofan was temporarily empty. Xiaofan was forcefully dragged into the temporary space to resist the calamity. If he couldn't resist it, he would die. His name would completely fade from the list and he would be erased. Of course, if he could resist the calamity for 1 hour, he could come back and continue the game of fate to try to pass the calamity. Boss Xiao, this. Fatty Zhu was dumbfounded. No way. What's wrong with boss? He's so unlucky. He only took 1 step, and he stepped on the calamity card. Who did he offend? Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong, and Huiyang were also pale. They looked worriedly at the location of the temporary space in the void. However, they couldn't see or sense what was happening inside. All they could do was pray for Xiaofan. Ha ha ha. The geniuses from the Wuxia region all started laughing heartily. His eyes shone with a kind of pleasure of revenge and cleansing the humiliation. What's this called? A young man with a crown on his head and a jade-like face stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently. This is the saying, those who do evil are doomed to destruction. We've all heard of the extermination starlight. It's a kind of killing light refined by collecting meteorites from outer space. Every extermination starlight contains more than hundreds of thousands of ding of force. It has the terrifying power to shatter heaven and earth and shatter the void. It wasn't a big deal for them to withstand 1 or 2 beams of starlight, or even a dozen beams of starlight. For example, the barbarians from the great wilderness had ridiculously strong flesh shells. They could barely withstand the starlight for a while, and it wasn't impossible for the particularly strong ones to withstand 100 beams of starlight. But this extermination starlight calamity will last for a full hour. Who knows how many hundreds of thousands of extermination starlight will be released? How can they withstand it? They'll be reduced to ashes in a few moments. Xiaofan is dead. It's too easy for him to die like this. The young generation of the 4 regions and the great wilderness gloated and felt relieved when they saw Xiaofan being involved in the calamity. Damn it! Xiaofan deserves to die. I told you, how can a living target and an insignificant person have great luck? This time, he can't escape from the calamity. He's destined to be arrogant for a while, but he'll eventually die a violent death in the 3rd test. This is great. Now, there's one less strong opponent. After holding it in for so long, let me say something. It's good that he died. Xiaohan's death is a great satisfaction. Chen Fading Wind, who was floating in the void with his arms crossed, was stunned at this moment. I can't be so unlucky, right? What kind of luck is this? It's too bad. He only took 1 step and he suffered the extermination starlight calamity. Chen Fading Wind couldn't react at all. He took out the red card from his pocket and muttered to himself awkwardly. This card can help young Xiaofan to eliminate a calamity in the 3rd test, but, before I could give him the card, he was met with misfortune. Leng Ruyu frowned slightly and looked at the void with her deep eyes. A calamity in 1 step? Is this the fate of being alone? She shook her head and said indifferently. Continue the game. Yaoxia Pagoda. The 29th floor. Xiao Mingchu, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling all shouted indignantly. What's going on? Junior brother Xiaofan doesn't look like a person with declining luck. He rose from a living target to the current genius. It can be said that he has a flood of good fortune. Why did he encounter a calamity in 1 step? Could it be that Leng Ruyu's great fate divine technique has a flaw? Xiao Mingchu grimaced. Heaven's devil old man and Zhu Ganglai also had a look of pity and regret. The extermination starlight calamity is very difficult to resist with young Xiaohan's cultivation realm. Heaven's devil old man said in a deep voice. Wu Yu's eyes revealed a thoughtful look and murmured, if it's a blessing, it's not a curse. If it's a curse, it can't be avoided. In fact, I don't want to see Xiaofan have a smooth journey. His fate should be filled with countless calamities, fortuitous encounters, and fights. Objectively speaking, it's not a good thing if his fate is too smooth. Now, let's see if Xiaofan can resist this disaster. In the closed temporary space. Xiaofan was floating in the void. It was as if he had arrived in a boundless starry sky. Sparkling and translucent star sand constantly flowed past him. Everywhere was filled with dreamy colors, and the artistic conception was faintly discernible and otherworldly. What is this place? Xiaofan was startled. After that, he became vigilant. I stepped on the calamity card and have to face a great calamity. Extermination Starlight Calamity. What is this? Xiaofan pondered as he walked in this mysterious space. However, he didn't find anything strange at the moment. His emotions gradually calmed down. When I was sucked into this temporary space, I felt many unfriendly gazes filled with schadenfreude. Those competitors can't wait for me to be crushed to death by this calamity. But I, Xiaofan, don't listen to them. They want me to die, but I won't. I've been tempered by the line between life and death several times. How can they understand my unwavering will? Xiaofan sneered. The panic and fear in his mind gradually faded. At this moment, boom, far away in front of him, a planet slowly rose up. This planet was wrapped in burning red clouds. The light of treasures shone in all directions. It was a spectacular sight. Endless starlight and dust swirled around. It was unimaginably beautiful. It couldn't be described with words. What kind of planet is this? Xiaofan was startled. At this moment. Kaboom! 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 Just as Xiaofan was in a state of confusion, the endless space in front of him suddenly cracked open. The immeasurably huge planet suddenly disintegrated, emitting a terrifying sound. Countless starlight surged and dust flew in all directions. It was as if a natural disaster had arrived. Earth, water, wind, and fire were roaring. Faintly, a supreme voice that seemed to have come from beyond the 9 heavens could be heard: Extermination Starlight Calamity. Pucci. 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 The planet disintegrated. Rays of extermination starlight that blinded one's eyes were fired at Xiaofan. Wherever the starlight passed by, the space exploded inch by inch. Life withered inch by inch. The airflow became chaotic and collapsed. Thunderous explosions sounded one after another. The power of every ray of starlight was enough to flatten a mountain and blow up the air within a radius of over 10 miles. It was like the fist of a devil, destroying the heavens and earth. Damn it! Xiaofan cursed. He knew that this extermination starlight calamity was the scariest attack he had ever encountered. No other. Between life and death, Xiaofan's body suddenly stopped moving. The heat flow of the indestructible golden body was activated to the extreme. Golden light gushed out. The power of his body was no longer suppressed. It was released completely. Every inch of his flesh and blood was shining brightly like stars. As his muscles and bones trembled, a terrifying sound like a collapsing mountain could be heard. I'll take it. To be continued. Chapter 191. Xiaofan forcefully withstood this calamity. Starlight Extermination Calamity. Xiaofan was fully aware that his true qi cultivation would not be able to withstand it. If he used the powerful demonic monarch's palm and used 2 million cauldrons of pure strength to resist, he might be able to resist for a while. However, the starlight extermination was too dense. It was very likely that the demonic monarch's palm would be pierced through. After all, Xiaofan's demonic monarch's palm was incomplete. He had only awakened 20,000 demonic veins. It was still very young and could not display the demonic monarch's power. As for the 2 demonic techniques, they were stretched thin and could not be used. Sky demonic god bestowment could not seal off the billions of starlight extermination. Moreover, this temporary space would soon be filled with starlight extermination. It would be impossible to dodge. After thinking about it, the only way to deal with this calamity seemed to be the indestructible golden body. Xiaofan's mind was clear. He did not blindly dodge. He stood motionless and pushed the indestructible golden body to the extreme. Bone runes that looked like lotuses blossomed. Obscure and mysterious Sanskrit chants resounded. Xiaofan's body seemed to be gilded. Bang! Finally, the first starlight extermination fiercely smashed onto Xiaohan's body. This starlight extermination broke through all illusions and aimed straight at Xiaohan. It completely locked onto him, causing Xiaohan's body to shake violently. The heavens and earth trembled. The sound of stars disintegrating resounded endlessly. Its power was enough to split the heavens and earth and shatter the world. Poof! This starlight extermination exploded in the golden light that shot out from Xiaohan's body. 20% of its power was bounced off. The remaining power was crushed by Xiaohan's flesh shell and the indestructible golden body. In reality, each starlight extermination was formed by a meteorite. Once it exploded, it would turn into fine star sand and dust. It was crystal clear like a jewel, like gold and diamond. Even though Xiaohan had managed to block the extermination starlight, he was still shaken to the point of being dizzy. Before he could regain his senses, the second and third extermination starlight had already smashed towards him. Poof! Poof! These two beams of starlight exploded into an endless nebula vortex. Stardust flew everywhere, and dust swirled everywhere. Xiaohan retreated several steps and spat out a small mouthful of blood. If not for the fact that Xiaohan's flesh shell had a strength of 800,000 ding and that his indestructible golden body had reached the 61st to 70th movement, which allowed him to reflect 20% of his attacks back, Xiaohan would have already been torn apart. Xiao 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 xiao, more and more extermination starlight tore through the air and swept everything away. Peng! After enduring another 20 beams of destructive starlight, Xiaohan was thrown into the air, and the golden light around him dimmed and cracked. This is too terrifying. This power is too tyrannical. I will have to endure the heavenly might and calamity for an entire hour. Just thinking about it is terrifying. However, I, Xiaohan, will not die here. Xiaohan flipped over and stood up straight. He shook his head and his whole body suddenly moved. He actually began to practice some strange movements. Those were the 1st to 70th movement of the indestructible golden body. At this moment of life and death, Xiaohan actually discarded all the distracting thoughts in his mind, quenched his fear, and ignored the destructive starlight that was bombarding him like a storm. He repeatedly practiced the 1st to 70th movement of the indestructible golden body. Very quickly, Xiaohan entered a state of no man and no self. There was no sorrow nor joy, and life and death did not matter to him. His movements were like floating clouds and flowing water, completed in one breath. Every movement was like a heavenly steed soaring through the sky. Every movement was like a divine stroke that coincided with the heavenly Tao. Following Xiaohan's practice, the golden light emitted by the indestructible golden body became brighter and brighter at a speed visible to the naked eye. It was like a golden fire was burning. The bones flickered incessantly. Life and death, endlessly multiplying and multiplying. Sanskrit chants resounded from all directions, as if a deity was chanting. Peng! 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 The densely packed destructive starlight smashed towards Xiaohan and was crushed by his flesh shell and the indestructible golden body. Xiaohan's body kept shaking and swaying, but he did not feel sorrow nor joy. He did not let it get to his heart. He did not stop practicing the 1st to 70th movement of the indestructible golden body. Even though he was vomiting blood, he turned a deaf ear to it. More and more meteorites exploded, and the broken pieces of the stars wrapped around Xiaohan and seeped into the golden light, forming an unpredictable nebula and cold dust in the golden light. Peng! 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 Time seemed to have become very long. The 1-hour calamity seemed to have been stretched into 10 years, 100 years, or even longer. After an unknown amount of time, Xiaohan's body was full of cracks, like a broken piece of jade. If it were not for the indestructible golden body, Xiaohan would have been broken into pieces by now. When Xiaohan's endurance reached a critical point, Xiaohan was stunned. He only felt that there was a new power growing in his body. The vitality of his flesh shell had been squeezed to the limit, and it seemed like it could collapse at any moment. But when this limit reached its limit, it actually bounced back. There was a new power growing in Xiaofan's body. What's more, something even stranger happened. The golden radiance of the indestructible golden body seemed to have refined the shattered meteorite fragments and the afterglow of the starlight. The endless star sand, cold dust, and dreamlike nebula seemed to be refined by the indestructible golden light of the indestructible golden body. Wisps of starlight began to fuse into Xiaofan's injured body, repairing the shocking cracks on the surface of Xiaofan's body. The strength of Xiaofan's flesh shell began to rise. Gradually, Xiaofan's body was stained with starlight, becoming dreamy and dazzling. It was like a treasure body. Outside, the game of fate was still ongoing. It was already the second round. In the previous round, other than Xiaofan who had stepped on the tribulation card, his companions, Fatty Zhu, Xiaofan, Xiao Yunrong, and Mo Qingtong had all hit the die of fate. It was lackluster. They did not step on the cards that the contestants dreamed of, such as prize cards or treasure cards, nor did they step on the cards that were as terrifying as nightmares. They could be considered to have walked steadily. It was calm. Fatty Zhu took 5 steps. Mo Qingtong took 6 steps. Xiao Yunrong took 5 steps. Xiaofan took 3 steps. During the process of the game, all the contestants would observe the virtual image of the ranking list floating in the air from time to time. They were all paying close attention to Xiaofan's name. After Xiaofan entered the temporary space and was baptized by the extermination starlight tribulation, his name on the ranking list gradually dimmed, like a candle in the wind that could be extinguished at any time. This made everyone know that Xiaofan's situation was precarious and that he was on the verge of collapse. However, there were a few times when Xiaofan's name seemed to wither and dim instantly, but it miraculously lasted. It never extinguished. It had a feeling of being old but immortal, declining but not dying. Why isn't that kid dead yet? The geniuses of the Wuxia region were all secretly anxious. They could not wait for Xiaofan's name to immediately fade from the ranking list, causing him to die completely. His tenacity is really terrifying. Chen Shifeng stared at Xiaofan's name on the ranking list, his face full of amazement. More than half of the 1-hour tribulation time has passed, but he's still not dead. He's endured for so long. This kid is talented. If it were any other contestant, they would have turned into ashes long ago. They definitely wouldn't be able to hold on for so long. Wuxia Pagoda. The 29th floor. Wu Yu, Heaven's Devil Old Man and the others all stared at the ranking list. He's still holding on. Heaven's Devil Old Man said in shock. At this moment, he's still not dead. Unbelievable. This young Xiaofan is really lucky. Even the extermination starlight tribulation can't kill him. Look, he's still alive. Every time his name is about to completely fade, he's able to snatch a chance of survival so that he doesn't fall. That's right. I remember now, junior brother Xiaofan cultivated a body refining technique that is very magical. When I brought junior brother Xiaofan to the ancient village to train, he couldn't adapt to the gravity of the ancient village at that time. Later, he relied on this body refining technique to forcibly endure it and slowly adapted to life in the ancient village. Could it be? Xiao Mingchu's expression changed. It can't be that abnormal, right? Could it be that junior brother Xiaofan is using the extermination starlight tribulation to refine his flesh shell? That abnormal? Using the extermination starlight tribulation to forcibly refine his flesh shell? Is he still human? Heaven's Devil Old Man said in horror. At this moment, it's lit up. Dongfang Qin suddenly roared and trembled with excitement. It's lit up. Junior brother Xiaofan's name is suddenly lit up. What? Everyone looked at it with rapt attention. On the virtual image of the notice, when Xiaohan's name was at its weakest and dimmest, it suddenly reversed and became resplendent like the stars, shining brightly. Not only did the name not fade, it's getting brighter and brighter. A strange light burst out from Wu Lu's eyes. Xiaohan seems to have had a fortuitous encounter again. Good. Very good. It's not a big deal if one's fate is smooth sailing. What's amazing is that in the midst of danger and tribulations, not only did he not die, but he also had a fortuitous encounter. This is defying heaven and changing fate. Third round examination venue. What? That Xiaohan's name is lit up. A large group of contestants who were staring at the virtual image of the notice cried out involuntarily. His name is getting brighter and brighter, so bright that it's dazzling. What's going on? Is there a problem with the notice? What? The aura is actually getting stronger and stronger? This is unbelievable. Chen Feng's face suddenly stiffened. This is... In Leng jade-like eyes, an expression of contemplation appeared. Inside the temporary space. Boom. 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 More and more destructive starlight, with the power to destroy the world, violently swept across and smashed onto Xiaohan's body. However, the golden light emitted by the indestructible golden body became brighter and brighter. Not only did it shatter the destructive starlight, but it also refined the meteorite fragments, the dust, and the nebula. Xiaohan's strength also increased by leaps and bounds. From the shell's strength of 800,000 ding, it had increased to 1,500,000 ding. It had almost doubled. After an unknown period of time, the destructive starlight finally stopped bombarding Xiaohan. The temporary space suddenly quieted down. Phew, is it over? Xiaohan let out a breath of turbid air. At this moment, Xiaohan's body was glowing. Although his clothes were ragged, he casually stood there. His entire temperament was as calm as the bright moon, extraordinary and refined. Endless starlight seeped out from under his skin, making him look like a god. At first glance, it seemed as if there was an endless circle of light enveloping him. In each circle of light, there were fine and dense star sand and cold dust rolling. The indestructible golden body, after refining the destructive starlight, it refined my flesh shell again. Not only did my strength almost double, but my flesh shell also has the taste of a star. The indestructible golden body is really unparalleled. No wonder it can seal the demon egg. Xiaohan slightly clenched his fist, and with a bang, the sound of a star exploding could be heard. At this time, the golden light of the indestructible golden body, with Xiaohan as the center, spread out for more than 10 meters. Moreover, in the golden light, there were gorgeous gas in the shape of clouds and dust. That was the nebula. In the nebula, there were densely packed meteorite fragments, emitting fragmented light, like the whole night sky full of stars. The nebula changed. Rays of light swirled around. Whirlpools appeared everywhere. Xiaohan's skin glowed with starlight, without a speck of dust or dirt, and his whole body was like a star. An eternal star wrapped in the nebula. With a slight movement, he was like a star shining, the sun and the moon in the sky, and the rivers flowing on the ground. His whole body's aura was really like the sun in the sky. Suddenly, a gap was torn open in the temporary space, and a deep voice sounded. Congratulations, participant, you have successfully passed the starlight extinction tribulation. Please return to the examination venue and continue the fate game. Chapter 192. In this temporary space, Xiaohan suffered the tribulation of starlight extermination. After an hour, it felt like a year. Fortunately, the indestructible golden body released its divine power and refined a large amount of starlight extermination, allowing Xiaohan to complete the starlight tempering. The strength of his flesh shell soared to 1.5 million cauldrons, a great achievement. When Xiaofan was in the Southern Region qualifier, he encountered a seeded player, Xiaofan of the Starlight Hall. Xiaofan was also very talented. He used starlight to temper his body since he was young, making his whole body glitter with starlight. But today, Xiaofan directly used the starlight to temper his body. He was many times more abnormal and tyrannical than Xiaofan. 5 million cauldrons of flesh shell, comparable to the cubs of ancient divine beasts, such as Swanee and Horned Dragon, right? Now, in terms of pure strength, I can definitely crush a bunch of humanoid beasts from the great wilderness. Xiaofan was also somewhat pleased. My flesh shell is like a star, like a meteorite, like an abyss, like the sea, comparable to a treasured weapon, indestructible. Mid-stage saber intent, 20,000 demon veins opened in the left arm of the demon, the arch palm, mysterious and unpredictable. It's really a little bit like killing gods and Buddhas blocking my way. Whoever dares to block my way in this demon hero qualifier, I'll kill them directly. However, Xiaofan sorted out his thoughts very soon. Using the spirit turtle's true chi, the nebula swirl around him, the mist-like streams of air, and the resplendent, cold dust were all sealed up. Even his extremely powerful shell of flesh was firmly sealed up. As a result, he looked very ordinary. Xiaofan stepped out of the space crack. He landed on his own rainbow bridge, 99 steps away from the other side. Boss! You're okay? Fatty Zhu turned around and roared at Xiaofan with wild joy. I was worried to death. Boss, you're really awesome. Even the Starlight Extermination Tribulation couldn't kill you. Truly able to swallow the 9 prefectures and sweep through the 8 desolates. Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong, and Huiyang looked back at Xiaofan at the same time, feeling relieved. Okay, I'm fine. Continue the game. Xiaofan smiled faintly. You're all ahead of me. I've only taken one step. It's hard to survive. Seeing Xiaofan's relaxed teasing, Mo Qingtong couldn't help but chuckle charmingly. He actually came out alive and kicking. Even this couldn't kill him. This person's life is like a stone in a latrine pit, smelly and hard. The younger generation of the Devil Hero region were all eager for Xiaohanqing to die. Now that they saw Xiaohanqing jumping out of the temporary space as if nothing had happened, his aura was stable, and he did not seem to be injured at all, let alone dead. They were all shocked and angry. The lower a person is, the harder their life is. But it didn't matter. The game of fate was still ongoing. Xiaofan had only taken one step. He was still far away from the other side. He stepped out with a calamity card, which meant that his luck was declining. Maybe there would be a punishing card, expelling card, or even a bad luck card waiting for him. Furthermore, once our people step on the Golden Supreme Ruler card, they can instantly kill Xiaofan, once and for all. Yes. Good lad. Although you have intentionally suppressed and concealed it, your spirit and aura have improved by leaps and bounds. You have actually turned a calamity into a fortuitous encounter. I also know a little about fate and luck. His fate seems to be dangerous, but it is actually able to turn danger into safety. He will probably be able to dominate the world in the future, crushing everything with his strength and conquering the mountains and rivers. Chen Fading Wind nodded secretly. Leng Ryu also took a deep look at Xiaohan. Her misty eyes revealed a look of deep thought. The game continued. At this moment, the game had entered the second round. In this round, a youth from the eastern domain with fair and tender skin, lofty temperament, and handsome to the point of causing one's hair to stand on end, actually stepped on 3 reward cards in a row, advancing several dozen steps, and finally ending this round with a treasure card. He was still 41 steps away from the other side. In his hand, he was holding an ancient fist scripture that he had just obtained. He casually flipped through it, and his entire person showed a domineering aura. This person was also quite a character. When he flipped through the fist scripture, he seemed to have gained some kind of enlightenment. Essence floated in his eyes, and there were streams of true qi in his pupils. His entire aura became more and more mellow, and there was almost no flaw to be found. Fatty Zhu turned around and said to Xiaofan in a low voice. "Boss, the guy who stepped on 3 reward cards in a row, got a purple aura, got a treasure, and got a fist scripture is the #1 genius in the eastern region, Zhangsun Wuheng. It is said that the Zhangsun clan is the most mysterious clan in the eastern region, a behemoth. The Zhangsun clan is the most monstrous existence in this generation. No one in the younger generation of the eastern region can match them. The east region is more prosperous than the south region. Zhangsun Wuheng's reputation as a genius is much more worthy of being one of the top 10 seeded players in the south region's qualifiers." "Yes, I understand." Xiaofan nodded lightly. At this moment, it was the turn of the contestant on Rainbow Bridge number 1230 to hit the die of destiny. It was a young girl dressed in white clothes like flying snow. She had delicate eyebrows, white teeth, and red lips, but her entire aura was extremely stern. The scene of late autumn appeared above her head. The clear stream was cold, the reed flowers were fluttering, yellow leaves were falling, and the cold crows were chirping in the forest. She came from the Wuxia region, was less than 20 years old, and was extremely talented. Moreover, she was the most beautiful and charming among the genius girls of the Wuxia region who came to participate in the Wuxia preliminaries. She was the object of love and pursuit of many genius youths. However, she had a special liking for her eldest senior brother and her heart was secretly in love with him. At this moment, it was her turn to hit the die of destiny. Her expression was excited as she looked at her eldest senior brother, who was sitting cross-legged on the other side of the river and meditating with his eyes closed. She thought to herself, "Eldest senior brother, I will definitely work hard and be the second to reach the other side to reunite with you. I want to prove that I, Shengguan Linger, am worthy of you, eldest senior brother." Shengguan Linger slowly separated a wisp of mental energy and directly hit the die of destiny. Whoosh, rays of light shot out. A 6 was hit. "Please take 6 steps forward." Shengguan Linger carefully took a step forward and looked at her eldest senior brother on the other side of the river with gentle eyes. Just as she took her 6th step. Boom, a ray of golden light shot up to the sky. In all directions, auspicious clouds and auspicious qi could be seen, and a rain of flowers could be seen. Moreover, the sound of immortal music could be heard. Congratulations, participant. You've obtained a sovereign card. This card is supreme, like a sovereign descending to the world. It allows you to have the power to decide life and death. You can kill any participant who is still on the Rainbow Bridge and hasn't reached the other side of the river yet. May I ask which contestant do you want to kill? Whoosh, the audience was in an uproar. Then there was the sound of people gasping. Then there was dead silence. Supreme Ruler card. You can kill a contestant at will. This is simply an invincible card. You can control others like fish on the chopping block, waiting to be slaughtered. In an instant, Shengguan Linger felt a thrill of controlling the fate of others. The feeling of being superior was very subtle and captivating. She held the golden card in her hand and slowly turned around. She first squinted her eyes and then opened them. She looked at all the contestants with a satisfied gaze. Every contestant's face turned green when they met Shengguan Linger's gaze. They trembled in fear and were afraid that Shengguan Linger would kill them. Finally, Shengguan Linger's gaze fell on Xiaofan. "Junior sister Shengguan. Kill him." "That's great. Junior sister Shengguan, you actually stepped on a golden Supreme Ruler card. This is the first Supreme Ruler card produced since the start of the game. Power of life and death. Junior sister Shengguan, kill Xiaofan. Take revenge for our people." Pfft, Shengguan Linger covered her mouth and laughed. She made a gurgling sound and looked at Xiaofan. "Xiaofan, right? Do you have the feeling that heaven's net is wide but not wide open? Ha ha ha. She laughed like a flower. In the second stage, you had no taboo and actually dared to kill people from our Devil Hero region. You are courting death, do you know that? Just now, you stepped on the Tribulation card and encountered the Starlight Extinction Tribulation. You should have died, but you survived. Your life is very tough, but it's useless. Shangguan Linger's face became somewhat sinister. Look, I have the Supreme Ruler card in my hand. I can kill whoever I want. Now, I want you to die. Are you feeling indignant? Even the Starlight Extinction Tribulation couldn't kill you, but you died under a small golden card. This is fate. This is your fate. Your fate is over. Phew, the other contestants all heaved a sigh of relief. They looked at Xiaofan with schadenfreude and thought in their hearts, this time, Xiaofan is dead for sure, right? Bitch! Xiaofan was furious. He was currently restrained by the power of fate on the Rainbow Bridge and could not move at all. Otherwise, he would definitely jump over and tear Shangguan Linger into pieces. Don't kill my boss. Fatty Zhu wailed. Don't kill my boss, I beg you. Please don't kill Xiaofan. Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong, and Huafan begged in unison. Shangguan Linger completely ignored the pleas of Fatty Zhu and the others. She flicked the golden Supreme Ruler card in her hand and said viciously, I will use this card to completely kill the contestant on Rainbow Bridge number 511, Xiaofan. Kill. Destroy his soul and consign him to eternal damnation. Never to reincarnate. Boom, that golden card directly transformed into a golden light of absolute death. It could easily destroy 1,000 armies and kill people and ghosts. It directly locked onto Xiaofan and blasted out. The golden light was like an evil dragon, surging and roaring, obliterating everything from yesterday. Ah! No! Xiaofan's companions all cried out in alarm. In a flash. Swish, red card shot out from Chen Fengchen's hand. It transformed into a red dragon and directly crashed into the golden light. 2 by 2. This? Xiaofan escaped death and looked at Chen Fengchen. An idea flashed through his mind. Ah! I got it. It's that red card. I found the red card in the second stage. I can get help in the third stage. That's great. At this moment, Xiaofan's face was covered in cold sweat. His gaze was sinister as he looked at Shangguan Linger and a sinister smile appeared on his face. Bitch, you will definitely die. Remember, once you fall into my hands, I will directly shatter you. Damn it. What's going on? Are you openly breaking the rules of the game? The people on the side of the Yaoxia region roared in dissatisfaction. Chen Fengchen and Leng Ruyu exchanged glances. This is fate. Leng Ruyu smiled faintly. In the second trial, this young man found the only red card, and was promised help in the third trial. You can think of this as a young man who has encountered danger in his life, and a benefactor will lend a helping hand. Everything has a cause and effect. If the youth did not find the red card in the second stage, he would have died and been directly obliterated. Alright, this is also a part of the game. You don't have to argue. Also, youth, you have already used this red card that represents luck. Next time, if someone draws the sovereign card and wants to obliterate you, you will not be able to escape. This is also fate. Phew, I understand. Xiaofan heaved a long sigh of relief. He looked at Shangguan Linger with a venomous gaze. Shangguan Linger's eyes were filled with disappointment. She glared at Xiaofan and turned her head away. The game continued. One by one, the contestants hit the die of destiny to determine their luck. During this period, there were also some expulsion cards, unlucky cards, reward cards, punishment cards. Some contestants were already slowly approaching the shore. It was Fatty Zhu's turn to hit the die of destiny again. Fatty Zhu hit a 6 uneasily. After taking 6 steps forward, a white light appeared under his feet. He actually stepped on a reward card that rewarded him with 20 steps forward. After taking 20 steps, another reward card appeared. However, this time, it only rewarded him with 5 steps. After walking, Fatty Zhu took a total of 36 steps. He was still 64 steps away from the shore. Fatty, not bad. Xiaofan could not help but cheer for Fatty Zhu. Fatty Zhu chuckled foolishly. Next was the round. Phew, Xiaofan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. He thought to himself, I won't be so unlucky this time, right? When the mental wave hit the die, another 1 point appeared. It was exactly the same as the previous round. This made him not know whether to laugh or cry. One had to take steps to reach the other side. It was too painful and aggrieving for someone like Xiaofan to take 1 step at a time. He was like a snail and seemed to be at a huge disadvantage when competing with the other contestants. Damn it! Xiaofan cursed inwardly, but there was nothing he could do. He could only take a step forward obediently. Just as his feet landed. Boom! A golden light soared into the sky. The golden card evaporated. Heavenly flowers fell. Golden lotus gushed out of the ground. Drums rang in harmony. Congratulations, participant, you've obtained an exalted sovereign card. This card is supreme, and it's like a sovereign descending to the world. It allows you to obtain a single right to decide life and death. You can do as you please and kill any participant that is still on the bridge and hasn't reached the other side. May I ask, which contestant do you want to kill? Huh? Xiaofan held the golden sovereign card in his hand. He was stunned for a moment before he laughed maniacally. Ha 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 ha. Wah ha 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 ha. How satisfying. How satisfying. Just now, someone had used this supreme sovereign card to threaten him, saying that he was going to kill him. Although he had luckily escaped death in the end, he still felt very uncomfortable in his heart. He felt extremely sullen, and he had a belly full of anger that he had no way to vent. Now, he had actually obtained a supreme sovereign card. It immediately satisfied my desire to seek revenge for the smallest grievance. At that moment, the faces of the younger generation of the Wuxia region instantly turned green. B*TCH, he, what did you say just now? Right. Don't you feel the same way now? How dare you try to kill me? Now, I will return the favor. Xiaofan looked at Shengguan Linger with a hideous smile. Ah. No. Don't kill me. You can't kill me. Shengguan Linger completely broke down. She did not have a red luck card that could block death. Now that Xiaofan had the golden card, she would die if he wanted her to. How dare you? Xiaofan, you can't kill junior sister Shengguan. If you dare to do this, it is tantamount to declaring war on the younger generation of the Wuxia region. Xiaofan, don't make a mistake. You seem to be happy to kill junior sister Shengguan now, but have you thought about how to deal with the aftermath? Nonsense. All of you, shut up. I don't have so many twists and turns. I will definitely take revenge. Xiaofan stared with his eyes wide open. When this B*TCH wanted to kill me just now, why didn't you jump out and say something? Now that it is her turn to die, you can't sit still anymore. Let me tell you, she will definitely die today. Eldest senior brother. Save Linger. Eldest senior brother. Shengguan Linger burst into tears. The eldest senior brother, who was sitting cross-legged on the other side, had a calm temperament. His eyes were tightly closed. He spoke in an extremely ethereal tone, with a kind of gentleness that could enlighten the people of the world. Enough. Xiaofan, right? No more killing. In the second round, maybe our people were too strong and forced you to kill them. Alright, today, I, Garen, promise that as long as you let my junior sister Shangwan go, the younger generation of the Wuxia region will not cause you any trouble in the future. Those junior brothers and junior sisters who died in your hands, we will not pursue it. Today, let me, Garen, come forward and resolve this grudge. What do you think? What he said was reasonable, but there was also a hint of charity and pity in his tone. Oh. Xiaofan was stunned. The eldest senior brother's aura was ethereal, and his whole body was covered with jewels and treasures. Xiaofan, I, Garen, am a man of my words. I said I will let you go today, and I will definitely let you go. I will control my junior brothers and junior sisters, so that they will not pester you. What do you think? I think you are also a talent. Maybe in the future, we will have the opportunity to work together to kill the demon clan. Today, give me some face. Leave a way out for everything, and we will meet again in the future. Yes, that woman will not die. Xiaofan will not be able to kill that woman. Now that things have come to this, Xiaofan will definitely stop while he is ahead. Yes. It is impossible for a normal person to continue this hatred. It was not easy to find a way out, so let's go down the slope. I think Xiaofan definitely did not deliberately offend and kill those people from the Wuxia region. He must have been forced to do so. In fact, he is also extremely afraid of the revenge of the younger generation of the Wuxia region. After all, the Wuxia region is powerful, and no one can compete with them. This eldest senior brother is an invincible figure, and his luck covers the sky. There will not be any disasters in his life. Xiaofan will never be able to defeat him. Now that eldest senior brother has personally spoken, Xiaofan will give him face. In fact, this is eldest senior brother giving Xiaofan a chance. Do you understand? If Xiaofan dares to kill that woman, he will not be able to escape death, so it is better to give up now. Ha 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 ha. Xiaofan suddenly laughed wildly. Hypocrite. Moreover, you do not see the situation clearly. What you're saying sounds like you're giving me, Xiaofan, something out of charity. In this Wuxia trial, the winner is king, and the loser is the bandit. If I don't kill you, you will kill me. What you said now is like a gift to me. And you still keep saying that you will let me go? Do I, Xiaofan, need you to let me go? Also, you want me to give you face? I will give you face. If I give you face, who will give me face? If it was not for that red lucky card just now, I would have already turned into ashes. Kill. Obliterate the contestant on Rainbow Bridge 230. As soon as Xiaohan's voice fell, the golden card in his hand turned into a golden light, annihilating everything, and gently swept, puff. Shangwan Linger did not even have the time to scream, and her whole body turned into ashes, leaving nothing behind. The muscles at the corner of eldest senior brother's eyes twitched wildly, as if he wanted to open his eyes. To be continued. Chapter 193. Xiaofan directly killed Shangwan Linger in front of everyone. This was no less than a slap in the face of all the young generation of the Wuxia region. Previously in the second stage, Xiaofan killed the young generation of the Wuxia region one after another, but no one saw it with their own eyes. They only learned the news of his death from the dim names on the list, and it did not cause much visual impact. But now, he mercilessly killed Shangwan Linger in front of everyone. He was domineering, and his violent and crushing character was vividly reflected. Even the eldest senior brother, who had great luck, could not stop Xiaofan. He did not give him any face at all. The whole place was silent. Then, on the side of the Wuxia region, there was a miserable howl like the death of their parents. It was inexplicably sorrowful, and everyone was scared out of their wits. Junior sister Shangwan. You are in the prime of your life. Why did you die here? The beautiful woman is a skeleton, and the beautiful woman has turned into bones. Tragic. 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 Junior sister Shengwan, you have been doted on by all the masters since you were a child. Now that you have died, the masters will definitely be heartbroken when they know, junior sister Shengwan. Don't worry. We will definitely avenge you and kill this bastard. Kill the whole sect. The eldest senior brother, who was full of immortal aura, and his jade-like face suddenly became livid. His face was distorted, and the muscles at the corners of his eyes twitched wildly. He wanted to open his eyes and look at Xiaofan, but he activated his willpower and tried his best to hold it back. Good. Xiaofan. You are very good. The eldest senior brother's whole body was trembling, and his tone, which was as light as water, also became deep resentment. He was almost gnashing his teeth, and his murderous intent was everywhere. I, Garen, will remember you. Good. Junior sister Shengwan Linger will not die in vain after all. Good. After that, Garen began to recite some ancient incantations, and people could vaguely hear him reciting like this. Everything has no self, all laws are impermanent, and nirvana is silent. The great sage said that the emptiness law is separated from all things. If people see emptiness, all Buddhas will not change. Birth, old age, sickness, death, resentment, meeting, love, parting, seeking. Following Garen's chant, rays of ancient halos of light bloomed from between his eyebrows. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple. The 7 rings of light shone brightly. The spasms and contortions on his face were all smoothed out. There was a faint smile at the corner of his mouth, as if he had seen through all the sufferings of the world. Everything was empty, and he bemoaned the state of the universe and pitied the fate of mankind. His right hand pinched the orchid fingers. He was like a high and mighty god, erasing all negative emotions. Garen ignored Xiaofan. Oh. This fellow is actually quite powerful. Just now, he unleashed his killing intent towards me, but in reality, he had already revealed a huge flaw in his heart. However, in an instant, he became solemn and dignified. He forcefully got rid of the evil aura and flaws in his heart, and his entire body became smooth and flawless, becoming stronger. Xiaofan secretly said. As for the other contestants, they saw that Xiaofan was actually so lawless and unrestrained, slapping the geniuses of the Devil Hero region in the face. This caused them to develop a subconscious fear of Xiaofan, and they did not dare to openly discuss and mock Xiaofan, who was just a punching bag for a nobody. It was as if they were afraid that Xiaofan would take revenge on them. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, I'll destroy their whole family, Xiaofan said indifferently, and then waited quietly. His round of hitting the die of fate had ended. Next, it was Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong, and Hui Yang's turn. Devil Hero Tower. On the 29th floor. TSK, junior brother Xiaofan is really ruthless. Dongfang Qin sighed repeatedly. Ruthless. In terms of ruthlessness, I'm already inferior to junior brother Xiaofan. When he killed that woman, he didn't even frown. He was decisive in killing. That woman deserves to be killed, Fang Ling said concisely. If junior brother Xiaofan doesn't kill her, she will definitely kill junior brother Xiaofan again in the next round if she steps on the sovereign card again. Sect Master, that woman naturally deserves to be killed. In the past Hex preliminaries, we have summed up one experience. In the competition, those who are soft-hearted will be eliminated and die. However, what I'm worried about now is the young man who has been closing his eyes, has an extraordinary aura, and is the first to pass the 3rd round. He comes from the Devil Hero domain and seems to be the leader of many geniuses in the Devil Hero domain. That person. I've heard people talk about him. He is a genius discovered by a group of old antiques in the Devil Hero domain in the Great Wilderness. It is said that there was a phenomenon in the sky when he was born, accompanied by traces of immortal chi. It is said that he has the quality of becoming an immortal. He was trained by those old antiques. Moreover, if I'm not wrong, his cultivation technique is the ancient Buddhist country, the supreme magical power. That kind of cultivation technique is about emptiness. Once it is cultivated, he will be above all living beings and erase everything. His cultivation technique seems to have not reached perfection yet, so he can't open his eyes for the time being. The moment he opened his eyes, the mountains and rivers turned into ashes, and everything turned into powder. It must be the phenomenon of the 10,000 Buddha greeting technique. When the divine power is mastered, everything will be turned into ashes. Wu Yu said indifferently. So powerful? Heaven's devil, old man exclaimed. Ancient Buddhist country? That's right, according to some ancient texts and inscriptions, Buddhism and culture were indeed prevalent in ancient times, but they were eventually destroyed. Even now, there are still some Taoist heroes who are working hard to find the Buddhist nation's ruins. I really didn't expect that the youth with his eyes closed to cultivate the divine abilities of the ancient Buddhist nation. Yeah. His face was dark. His expression was grave. The divine abilities of the ancient Buddhist nation are extremely difficult to cultivate. However, once you have some success with them, you will become extremely powerful. It could suppress the ages and destroy all manifestations. The youth from the Devil Hero region was extremely talented, but his divine ability was almost broken by Xiaofan just now. Just now, if he had opened his eyes, his spirit would no longer be complete. A huge flaw would have appeared, and the heart demon would have taken advantage of it. Many years of bitter cultivation would have been destroyed in a single day. However, he managed to restrain himself. This time, he managed to refine his Buddhist kingdom divine art, causing it to transform and get close to mastering it. With an opponent like this, he's like a tiger lying on its side. Xiaofan should be on his guard at all times. If that's the case, junior brother Xiaofan must kill him before he cultivates the supreme Buddhist nation divine art. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to deal with him. Xiao Mingchu frowned. Or we can force him to open his eyes in advance and destroy his Buddhist heart. The heavenly devil old man's eyes were filled with ferocity, revealing the aura of a great devil. Devil Hero Pagoda. An extremely high level. Ling. A group of old antiques let out heart-wrenching roars. The runes were violent, the aura was overbearing, and the eyes of Vajra were filled with anger. Ling. He was actually killed by that little bastard. He was publicly killed. Even if we die 10,000 times, we won't be able to absolve ourselves from this. If this person doesn't die, where will our dignity go? Ling has always been obedient and obedient. Moreover, her body also contains a trace of a unique bloodline. In the future, when she awakens her bloodline, she will also be a great expert and her name will shake the mountains and rivers. But she actually died a tragic death. My heart hurts like a knife. This old man's heart really hurts like a knife. The group of old antiques were all furious and wanted to kill someone to vent their anger. An old antique was silent for a moment, his face twitching as he said. All right, everyone stop roaring. It's useless for us to be angry here. Just now, Garen's Buddhist heart was almost destroyed by that little bastard. I looked at Garen, and I almost opened my eyes. The destruction of Garen's Buddhist heart is the biggest loss. However, Garen is worthy of being an outstanding genius. At the critical moment, he not only protected his Buddhist heart, but also perfected it. Ling's death may cause Garen to completely cut off his emotional barrier. Everything will be empty, and his Buddhist arts will be complete. That makes sense. From what I see, if Garen can personally kill that young Xiaohan, I'm afraid, he will break through the shackles in a short period of time, and achieve a clear Buddhist heart, perfect and flawless. What you mean is, although the young Xiaofan helped Garen cut off his emotional barrier, it also left a shadow in Garen's heart. If he can personally erase this shadow, then his whole person will be extraordinary, and above all others? It seems, unknowingly, that Garen and Xiaofan have already become mortal enemies. Everyone knows that Garen's ancient Buddha divine technique is extremely difficult to cultivate. There is immortal qi in his bones, but he has cultivated for more than 20 years and still hasn't reached perfection. This old man once calculated that if Garen wants to cultivate this ancient Buddha divine technique, he will have to rely on external forces. It seems like Garen's external forces have arrived. I understand. This young Xiaofan is no less than a ray of Garen's luck. Just from this game of fate, Garen's luck in his life is like a rainbow, and no one in the world can match him. He may become a deity in the future. His Buddhist arts have reached a bottleneck, and he can't break through. Then, unknowingly, someone like Xiaofan was arranged to kill Ling, and plant a demonic seed in Garen's heart. Once Garen destroys this demonic seed, he will be successful. Buddhist arts will reach the peak. That must be it. So that's what happened. The third test venue. Xiaofan stood on a rainbow bridge that belonged to him, watching his companions hit the dice of fate. Fate was unpredictable, and this game was full of danger. Xiaofan was worried for his companions. But fortunately, this round, his companions were successful, and didn't step on any unlucky cards. Mo Qingtong hit another 6 points. After taking 6 steps, she received a reward card, directly rewarding her with 18 steps. This made Mo Qingtong take 40 steps, and she was almost halfway to the shore. Xiao Yunrong hit 4 points, and after taking 4 steps, she stepped on a treasure card. It was a rare treasure from heaven, and it turned out to be an ancient sword scripture, called Omnidirectional Spiritual Sword Art. Xiao Yunrong held the sword scripture in her hand, and was overjoyed. She was still 91 steps away from the shore. Judging from this woman's luck, she seems to be a natural sword cultivator. In the future, when she cultivates swordsmanship, she will be like the sun in the sky. Chen Fengxian nodded slightly. Huiyang's luck was even better this round, and he stepped on 3 reward cards in a row. After taking 55 steps, he surpassed Fatty Zhu and Mo Qingtong, and was only 40 steps away from the shore. Xiaofan was puzzled by the side. He thought to himself that his companions seemed to have better luck than him. Now, he had only taken 2 steps, and they had left him far behind. I hope I can catch up in the next round. Xiaofan thought to himself. A few hours later. The third round of the game of fate began. This was a new round. Countless contestants were filled with confidence and anticipation. Of course, they were silently praying not to step on the unlucky card. To be continued. Chapter 194. The third round of the game of fate. As the game progressed to this round, the luck of the contestants gradually became clearer and clearer. For example, some contestants began to step on the reward cards and moved forward bravely, getting closer and closer to the shore. Some contestants stepped on the punishment card. Not only were they unable to move forward, but they also retreated. In the end, they were forced to return to the mobile city and left the Hex Hero trial, losing the qualification to compete for the title of Hex Hero. There were even some contestants who directly stepped on the banishing card, and before they could come to their senses, they had already left the arena. Of course, the most unlucky ones were the ones who stepped on the unlucky card. Their luck was bad, and they were forcibly wiped out, turning into ashes. At this point in the game, some clues could be seen. On the side of the Devil Hero region, the luck of the younger generation stood out. All of them were extraordinary and extraordinary. Some were 40 steps away from the shore, and some were only 30 steps away. Even the unluckiest one was only 54 steps away from the shore. The Great Wilderness was second. Although a considerable part of the children of the Great Wilderness had been expelled and killed, there were still 7,900 of them participating in the Hex Hero trial. In the first 2 rounds, many of the daughters of the Great Wilderness had also died. But at this moment, in the game of fate, hundreds of children of the Great Wilderness were getting closer to the shore. Xiaofan had met one of them once before. It was a member of the royal family of the mysterious ancient country of the Great Wilderness that he had met in the moving city a few days ago. It was a crown prince, the Tsang Dragon Crown Prince. He had asked Xiaofan for the red lucky card, but Xiaofan had rejected him. At this moment, the Tsang Dragon Crown Prince was in high spirits. Not only did he obtain an ancient body tempering cultivation technique, but he also stepped on 4 reward cards in a row. He was only 28 steps away from the shore. It was as if he had taken the lead, directly becoming the contestant closest to the shore, like a crane among chickens. The Tsang Dragon Crown Prince was in high spirits and had an indescribable majesty. He was full of ambition. The East region was below the Great Wilderness in terms of luck. Among the 4 regions, the East region was the most prosperous. It was the cradle of geniuses and outstanding hex heroes. Now, there were nearly 100 geniuses in the East region who had traveled more than half of the Rainbow Bridge of Fate. Among them, the so-called top genius of the East region, Zhangsun Wuhan, had surpassed the Tsang Dragon Crown Prince of the Great Wilderness because he had stepped on 2 reward cards. He was only 5 steps away from the shore. The Tsang Dragon Crown Prince looked at Zhangsun Wuhan, who was the only one who surpassed him, and a cruel killing intent flashed through his eyes. He laughed sinisterly, and no one knew what kind of plan he was brewing in his mind. That's the Eastern region's #1 genius, Zhangsun Wuhan. He's only 5 short steps away from the Permitha realm. It seemed that he would be the second person to step into the Sky Castle and enter the 4th round. He's really blessed by the heavens. Among us, his luck is second only to Garen, the leader of the younger generation of the Devil Hero region. The way I see it, the second to pass will either be the Tsang Dragon Crown Prince of the Great Wilderness or Zhangsun Wuhan of the Eastern Domain. The 2 of them are too far ahead, it will be very difficult to catch up. From this, it seems that the 3 great beauties who will be able to hold up the sky in the future are Garen from the Devil Hero Domain, Tsang Dragon Crown Prince from the Great Wilderness, and Zhangsun Wuhan from the East Domain. Well, it's basically these 3. Of course, there are also some others who have good luck and battle prowess. We can't underestimate them. What about Xiaofan from the southern region? That guy, the Starlight Extermination Tribulation can't kill him, and the Supreme Dominator card can't erase him. He can be considered as tough as a rock. However, he's only taken 2 steps so far and is almost at the bottom. I'm conservative and don't think he can pass the 3rd round. Luck is too mysterious and can't be captured. Don't be fooled by Xiaofan's limelight in the first 2 rounds. He may step on the bad luck card in the 3rd round and be directly erased. Hey! Look, there are 2 more people from the East Domain. As many contestants were whispering, 2 more people from the East Domain advanced side by side, one after the other, to the Permitha realm. One was a man in black, and the other was a man in yellow. They were 34 and 31 steps away from the shore respectively. Ah! These 2, I know these 2 people. They're both from the East Domain. They're the best of the younger generation. They've participated in the last Devil Hero trial. Although they were eliminated, they didn't die. They're both under 30 years old, so they're qualified to participate in this year's Devil Hero trial. One is called Tang Feipeng, and the other is called Xian Qi. In terms of battle prowess, they don't lose to others. In terms of experience, no one can compete with them. They've participated in the last Devil Hero trial? Then there's a 90% chance that they can enter the next round and finally become Devil Hero. Apart from the Devil Hero region, the Great Wilderness, and the East Domain, the other three domains' luck was declining. The West Domain could barely be ranked behind the East Domain, but there were only 18 contestants left. The one closest to the shore was also 64 steps away. The South Domain was behind the West Domain. But only 7 contestants were struggling in the third round, the Game of Fate. Other than Xiaofan, Fatty Zhu, Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong, and Hui Yang, there was still the Prince of Lingshan Empire, and Tian Yuan of the Sea God sect of the Sea God Empire. These 7 people were the only ones participating in the Devil Hero trial in the entire southern domain. The rest of the contestants were either expelled from the examination area, eliminated, or dead. The Prince of Lingshan and Tian Yuan were also struggling to move forward. They had only taken a dozen steps on the Rainbow Bridge of Fate. It was unknown whether they could resist the Nirvana realm in the end. The North Domain was even more dismal than the South Domain. There were only 3 people left in the entire North Domain. They struggled on the Rainbow Bridge of Fate, their faces full of bitterness. It's too cruel. Xiaofan glanced around, made a rough assessment, and sighed. More than 3,000 people entered the third round to participate in the Game of Fate. Now it seems that at most 1,000 people will pass. Maybe even less. Just as Xiaofan was sighing to himself. It was Fatty Zhu's turn to hit the die of fate, who was in front of Xiaofan. Xiaofan immediately restrained his distracting thoughts, held his breath, and silently blessed his companion. Fatty Zhu was 64 steps away from reaching the shore. He took a deep breath and muttered a few words. Then, he released a mental wave and hit the die of fate. It was a 1. The fat on Fatty Zhu's face trembled as he took a step forward in disappointment. However, just as he landed, a white light rushed out and a reward card jumped out. He was directly rewarded with 20 steps. Fatty Zhu's expression changed drastically as he took 20 steps forward in joy. On the 20th step, Fatty Zhu's luck came and he stepped on another reward card. He was rewarded with another 20 steps. Everything was as unreal as a dream. Although Fatty Zhu's heaven-defying luck came to an abrupt end after these 20 steps and he no longer stepped on the reward card, he was only 23 steps away from reaching the shore. That made Fatty Zhu the most blessed person in the southern domain. He surpassed the Tsang Dragon Crown Prince of the Great Wilderness, who was 28 steps away from reaching the shore. He was only behind Zhangsun Wuheng of the East region. The Tsang Dragon Crown Prince looked at Fatty Zhu with a vicious expression. A primordial aura surged from all over his body and the roar of a primordial beast could be vaguely heard in his eyes. Zhangsun Wuheng also turned around and swept a glance at Fatty Zhu. His killing intent flashed past like a flash of light. Fatty, well done. Xiaofan growled. Fatty Zhu was so happy that he was dumbfounded. He looked at the sky and then at Xiaofan. His throat was choked and he could not say a word. After Fatty Zhu, it was Xiaofan's turn. Due to the first 2 rounds, Xiaofan was in the limelight. He had resisted the great calamity and killed a proud daughter of heaven. When Xiaofan hit the die of fate, everyone's attention was focused on him. He threw it at Xiaofan. Don't tell me I got another 1 point again. Xiaofan was slightly stunned for a moment before he pulled himself together. He sent out a wisp of mental energy and brazenly collided with the die of fate. The heavens have mercy on me. This time, Xiaofan managed to get a 3. He could advance 3 steps. That's good. Compared to the first 2 rounds, I've improved slightly. Xiaofan comforted himself before walking away. The geniuses of the young hero region all stared at Xiaofan with monstrous killing intent in their eyes. They were all growling, "Unlucky card. Unlucky card. Unlucky card." They really hoped that Xiaofan would step on the unlucky card and be killed. When Xiaofan took his 3rd step, the entire Rainbow Bridge began to surge. Then, a strange buzzing sound could be heard. He stepped on the card again. Xiaofan's heart skipped a beat. In the next moment, boom, an orange light shot up into the sky. An orange card floated up and down, releasing a misty orange light and interweaving runes. What accompanied it was a deep voice. "Esteemed participant, you have obtained a meeting on a narrow path card. You need to fight with the opponent that has been arranged in the dark. The winner is king, and the loser is a bandit. If you win, you will directly seize the loser's luck. Conversely, if you lose, your luck will also be devoured by the opponent. Meeting on a narrow path, the brave will be king. Your opponent is the contestant on Rainbow Bridge number 598. Xiaofan was slightly stunned. In an instant, the rainbow bridge under Xiaofan's feet slowly rose. Corresponding to it, another rainbow bridge also rose slowly. Meeting on a narrow path. Number 1511 Rainbow Bridge contestant versus number 598 Rainbow Bridge contestant. The loser's luck will be taken away by the opponent. The deep voice sounded again. The encounter on a narrow path card had only appeared twice in the first 2 rounds. There were 2 duels, in which the winner devoured the number of steps the loser had taken on the Rainbow Bridge, which was the so-called luck. The 2 rainbow bridges faced each other in mid-air, with one person standing on each side. Xiaofan looked over. Standing on Rainbow Bridge number 598 was a man from the vast wilderness. This person was nearly 3 meters tall and had a special physique. His entire body was surrounded by blood qi, and his eyes were filled with unimaginable killing intent. His iron clothes shone brightly, making him look like an unparalleled god of war. With a slight movement of his body, a terrifying roar of a Tao Wu and Tao Tai could be heard from his body, bringing with it a thick savage aura. Moreover, there were 32 5-pointed star true acupoints in his body, telling the world that not only was his body strong, but his true qi cultivation had also reached the 4th stage. The man from the vast wilderness stared at Xiaofan arrogantly and said sternly, "Meeting on a narrow path. Good. People from the 4 regions, you have drawn the meeting on a narrow path card, and your opponent is actually me. Then, in other words, you might be a formidable opponent in my fate. Now that I've encountered you in advance, as long as I kill you and devour your karmic luck, then my future path will definitely be smooth sailing, and I'll be successful in every endeavor. Let's fight. I will use your life and blood as a stepping stone for my rise." At this moment, Leng Ruyu's indifferent voice sounded. Rainbow Bridge participant number 598 has taken 32 steps, participant number 1511 has taken 5 steps. Meeting on a narrow path, the courageous one wins. The 2 of them will fight, and the winner will devour the opponent's steps. Let's begin. You. Xiaofan suddenly smiled. "I advise you to just admit defeat. Otherwise, you will be very miserable. 32 steps. Not bad. After devouring your luck, I will reach 37 steps and gradually approach the shore. It turns out that my luck is not smooth sailing, but it has to go through all kinds of tribulations, tempering, and even killing along the way, seizing by force. And, so that's how it is. Good, I understand." Boom, the 2 rainbow bridges collided in the void. Runes lingered, and the word treasure shone brightly. An arena appeared. Xiaofan and the man from the vast wilderness, Jin, stood on the arena. Among the people from the 4 regions, you are in the limelight. However, no one saw how you killed those fellows from the Wuxia region in the 2nd round. You probably have an offensive treasure, right? But no matter what, after I crush you, I, Jin, will become famous among all the clans of the vast wilderness. After killing you, I, Jin, will rise unstoppably." The man from the vast wilderness looked at Xiaofan with a hideous smile. Xiaofan slowly raised a finger. "Do you understand what this means?" Jin was stunned. I will crush you with one finger. Xiaofan smiled indifferently. Chapter 195. Crush him to death with one finger. Xiaofan calmly looked at Jin of the great wilderness, who had met him on a narrow path. His eyes were burning with fighting spirit. All the contestants, including the chief examiner Leng Ruyu and Chen Shifeng, were quietly watching the duel between Xiaofan and Jin. Only the brave would win in a narrow path. The loser would have his luck devoured and be eliminated directly. A bleak ending. However, Xiaohan's rampant and almost blind arrogant tone caused many participants to deeply detest him. Even Leng Ruyu frowned slightly and Chen Shifeng was stunned. The younger generation of the Devil Hero region cursed in a low voice. Perhaps Xiaohan's combat power was indeed very strong and he had a trump card to defeat his opponent. But it was too arrogant and conceited to say that he would crush Jin to death with one finger. Jin was not a weakling. She was originally a bright and enchanting woman who stood out from the countless geniuses in the great wilderness. She had experienced the first 2 rounds of the Hex Hero trial and reached the 3rd round. She had also made it through 3 rounds in the Game of Fate, showing her good luck. He was not a weakling. It could be said that none of the participants who were able to make it this far were pushovers that could be manipulated at will. Xiaofan might be able to defeat Jin, but it would not be an easy victory. It might even be a Pyrrhic victory where he had to use all his trump cards. It was impossible for him to crush Jin to death with one finger, as he said. Is this young man going to expose the secret technique of the demon clan in front of everyone? Chen Shifeng shook his head secretly. It is definitely unwise to expose his biggest secret to the other contestants just to intimidate and show off his power. I don't think this young man Xiaohan is such a reckless person. Let's see how he will deal with it. Mo Qingtong also frowned slightly. The flesh shell of this man from the great wilderness is really as strong as an ancient beast. His breath is like the roar of a dragon and a tiger. His combat power is definitely stronger than any of the top 10 seeded contestants in the southern region. If Qingtong fought with him and activated the great devil world to the extreme and stimulated all its potential, it might be a lose-lose situation. Xiaohan has a lot of trump cards and has hidden them well. There shouldn't be any suspense if he wants to defeat this man from the great wilderness. However, to say that he can crush him with a single finger is a complete joke. Fatty Zhu mumbled to the side. Boss boasted so much in front of everyone. He's really setting a trap for himself. If he can't defeat that barbarian in an instant, wouldn't he be slapping his own face? I'd like to see how Xiaohan is going to defeat this expert from the great wilderness. The Eastern region's #1 genius, Zhangsun Wuheng, crossed his arms as a mocking smile appeared on his face. Even if I were to make a move, I wouldn't dare to say that I would win within 5 moves. Jin is a famous warrior among the younger generation of the wasteland. When he was young, he was able to fight against an impure Swan Ni and tear apart a great Luan with his bare hands. Every day, he tempered his body with precious blood. Mysterious bone runes appeared in his bones, and every inch of his flesh and blood contained divine light. His hands could contain 1,000,000 cauldrons of divine power. The Tsang Dragon Prince smiled. This Xiaohan is boasting. On the arena that was flickering with rainbow light, Jin was completely infuriated by Xiaohan's disrespectful attitude and arrogant tone. The people of the 4 regions always like to brag and say unrealistic things. You have a precious artifact, right? You probably think that you can defeat Jin with external strength. What a joke. No matter how powerful a precious artifact is, it needs someone strong enough to control it in order to unleash its true power. Now, Jin doesn't even have the chance to activate the precious artifact. If he wants you to die, then die. I'll smash your bones. Die. Jin roared and grabbed with his right hand. With this grab, the entire arena seemed to have darkened. His right hand blotted out the sky and seemed to have torn the space apart. The vast sky trembled, and the air resounded with the roars of the swan Ni, Qilin, fierce Luan, heavenly dragon, and many other ancient divine beasts. Floods, volcanic eruptions, and meteorites were all insufficient to describe the power of this grab. The world-shaking pressure immediately sealed off all of Xiaohan's escape routes. It tore the sky apart and its ferocious aura soared into the sky. The airflow surged and produced some terrifying phantoms of scales, dragon whiskers, beast tails, and phoenix wings, which made people's hearts palpitate. This grab caused most of the contestants to cry out in surprise. Xiaohan stood still. The next moment. Boom! With Xiaohan's body as the center, a large amount of golden light rushed out in an instant. This golden light was extremely extraordinary. It contained all kinds of cloud-like gas, cold dust, meteorite fragments, and even rays of extermination starlight. At the same time, Xiaohan's flesh shell also glowed brightly like a shining star. Rays of Milky Way halo were emitted. Xiaohan's temperament instantly changed from ordinary to brilliant. He was as calm as the bright moon, extraordinary and saintly. Extermination starlight surged out from under his skin. He looked like a god who was holding flowers. What? Extermination starlight? His body actually has extermination starlight rolling and evaporating. Chen Fading Wind blurted out in shock. I understand now. Not only did the extermination starlight not destroy him, it was refined by him. Refining the extermination starlight. This is unbelievable. It makes people's hair stand on end. Leng Ruyu's eyes also widened. Pooh! Ah Jin's fist that could shatter mountains and evaporate oceans crashed into the golden light formed by the indestructible golden body and the extermination starlight in the sea of stars and nebula. Immediately, it twisted, dissolved, and disappeared. It even reflected 20% of the power back. You can't even break the indestructible golden body's defense. You're so weak. After refining the extermination starlight, the indestructible golden body's defense increased greatly. It was like a galaxy, blocking all attacks. I said one finger. One finger means one finger. Xiaohan pointed his finger. The terrifying sound of stars disintegrating suddenly rang out. Milky Way star explosion. Endless star sand and nebula surrounded Xiaohan's finger. This finger was incomparably gorgeous, romantic, and dazzling. It illuminated the 9 prefectures for eternity. However, nobody could describe the power of this finger. Landslides, tsunamis, collapsing mountains, cracking the earth, exploding planets, and shattering them. Pooh! Xiaohan's finger poked Ah Jin's right palm. Poochie! With a crisp sound, Ah Jin's entire right hand cracked inch by inch, turning into porcelain. Then, it exploded into powder. Xiaohan took another step forward and pointed his finger again, hitting Ah Jin's left hand. Poochie! Ah Jin's left hand also exploded into powder in an instant. Ah! Ah Jin let out a heart-wrenching howl. He kept retreating, blood spurting out of his mouth. In the end, he fainted on the arena. His body kept convulsing, and he was on the verge of death. Xiaohan immediately sealed all his power and the indestructible golden body. His face was as calm as still water. I'm not arrogant. I've always been telling the truth. This. The Tsang Dragon Crown Prince's eyes became dull. He looked at Xiaohan in a daze and felt his scalp go numb. As a person with a mutated bloodline of the Great Wilderness, he could feel Xiaohan's power and defense even more deeply at this moment. It was no different from a humanoid Ho or an ancient barbaric dragon. Moreover, it was obvious that Xiaohan did not use much of his power in the battle with Ah Jin just now. It was a complete instant kill. The mocking smile on the face of Zhang Sun Wuheng, the #1 genius of the East region, suddenly froze. It was as if he was wearing a clumsy mask. The geniuses of the Wuxia region were all petrified. There was a chill on their spines. Garen, the eldest senior brother, sat cross-legged with his eyes closed. At this moment, the muscles at the corner of his eyes twitched wildly. He felt an unprecedented sense of crisis and an indescribable ominous premonition. The entire examination hall was silent. Wuxia Pagoda. On the 29th floor. Sect Master. This. Junior brother Xiaofan actually refined a lot of extinction starlight, which increased his defense and almost doubled his power. The key is that his defense is too abnormal. It's comparable to the cub of a divine beast. Xiao Mingqiu exclaimed in shock. Sure enough, he had a fortuitous encounter in the Great Calamity. This is the most perfect fate. The heavenly devil old man cried out. Sect leader, please tell us, what level is junior brother Xiaohan's battle strength at now? It's too terrifying. Dongfang Qin's expression froze. It's difficult for my sword qi to break junior brother Xiaohan's Milky Way starlight defense. Fang Ling said very seriously. Wu Dong thought for a dozen breaths before saying slowly. He's invincible under the 6th level of true qi. After pausing for a while, Wu Dong said very seriously. We all know that before reaching the 6th level of true qi, which is the expanding acupoint realm, the flesh shell can compete with true qi when cultivated to a certain extent. Now, Xiaohan's defense is strong and his strength is strong. Even a super expert at the 5th level of true qi would find it difficult to defeat him, and it's very likely that he would be killed instead. But Xiaohan is a very special phenomenon. The world is so big, even in the vast wilderness, it's difficult for someone to cultivate pure flesh shell strength and defense to such a heaven-defying degree as Xiaohan before the age of 20. Of course, after reaching the 6th level of true qi, the expansion of the acupoint will be different. In short, as long as the acupoint is not expanded, it's extremely difficult to defeat junior brother Xiaohan. Xiao Mingqiu said excitedly. The 3rd examination hall. The courageous wins in a narrow path. Participant 1151 of the Rainbow Bridge has defeated participant 598 of the Rainbow Bridge and taken away his luck. Participant 1151 of the Rainbow Bridge, please take 32 steps forward. An obscure and heavy voice sounded. The arena where Xiaohan stood turned into a rainbow bridge and slowly descended. Ah Jin's rainbow bridge had already been swallowed and merged with the rainbow bridge under Xiaohan's feet. The heavily injured Ah Jin was also instantly transported out of the examination hall. Phew, Xiaohan spat out a mouthful of turbid air and took a few steps forward. He had taken a total of 32 steps, and now he had advanced a total of 37 steps and was gradually approaching the other shore. Just as Xiaohan's last step landed, the rainbow bridge surged again. An orange light surged out like a beacon of smoke. It was another orange encounter in a narrow path card. Respected participant, you have received a encounter in a narrow path card. You need to fight against an opponent arranged by the unseen. The winner is king and the loser is a bandit. If you win, you will directly take away the loser's luck. Conversely, if you lose, your luck will also be swallowed by your opponent. The courageous wins in a narrow path. Your opponent is the contestant on Rainbow Bridge number 722. Hua, the audience gasped. Xiaohan had consecutively stepped on the 2nd encounter in a narrow path card. Encounter in a narrow path. Participant 1511 of the Rainbow Bridge versus participant 722 of the Rainbow Bridge. The loser's luck will be taken away by the opponent. The deep voice sounded again. The participant 722 of the Rainbow Bridge had already advanced 51 steps. His luck was no small matter. But at this moment, he actually encountered Xiaohan. Participant 722 of the Rainbow Bridge also came from the Great Wilderness. He looked at Xiaofan with shock and unwillingness. Ah, interesting. Xiaofan flicked his right index finger. There's no need to go up the stage. I give up on this encounter in a narrow path. I accept the fate of being eliminated. Participant 722 of the Rainbow Bridge said with extreme unwillingness. He had already walked halfway on the Rainbow Bridge of Destiny. He originally had the chance to reach the other shore, but his luck took a sharp turn and he encountered Xiaofan, who was at the peak of his power. He had no choice but to admit defeat. He didn't even have the courage to fight. The courageous wins in a narrow path. Participant 722 of the Rainbow Bridge has automatically forfeited and his luck will be taken away. Participant 1151 of the Rainbow Bridge, please advance 51 steps. Participant 722 of the Rainbow Bridge was instantly expelled from the venue. The Rainbow Bridge under his feet suddenly flashed and merged into Xiaohan's Rainbow Bridge, directly swallowing luck. Xiaofan took a step forward and advanced 51 steps. In this way, Xiaofan actually advanced 88 steps without stepping on the reward card. He was only 12 steps away from the other shore. The momentum of his advance was simply unstoppable. Heavens! This Xiaofan is simply a robber. Forcefully seizing other people's luck. Too savage. A robber. It makes my hair stand on end. Don't ever meet him on a narrow path. Otherwise, other than admitting defeat, what else can I do? All the contestants gasped in astonishment and gasped in astonishment. P.S. I went shopping with my wife tonight and came back late. I still insisted on writing a chapter. Everyone has waited for a long time. In addition, I grandly recommend a book. It is a new book by the great god. The title is, The God of Wealth. It is a very interesting book and very good to read. Please go take a look. Chapter 196. Xiaohan's life wasn't always smooth sailing. It wasn't like he was riding on a crane and living a carefree life. It was plundering. Plundering by force. Crushing by force. Winner takes all. After swallowing 2 rainbow bridges in a row, the rainbow bridge under Xiaohan's feet shone brightly and became thicker. It was rolling with strong luck, like a vast evil dragon, surging like a tide. Xiaofan stepped on the rainbow bridge, his sleeves fluttering slightly, his eyes as calm as the sun and moon. He was 12 steps away from the shore. Boss! Fatty Zhu stood a little behind Xiaofan, 23 steps away from the shore. He growled excitedly, Boss! You're really awesome. You've robbed others of their luck and suddenly caught up. Now, you're only behind Zhangsun Wuhan. But I believe that Boss will be the first one to reach the shore. Now, the ranking of the Rainbow Bridge, apart from Garen, the leader of the younger generation of the Devilish Night region, was the first genius of the East region, Zhangsun Wuhan, only 5 steps away from the shore. The second was Xiaohan, 12 steps, Fatty Zhu ranked third, 23 steps, a member of the royal family of the mysterious ancient country of the wilderness, the crown prince of the Azure Dragon, 28 steps. These 4 people formed the first group, followed by a large group of contestants. Heh! As long as I can reach the shore smoothly, I'll be satisfied. As for this ranking, I won't fight for it. This destiny game only simulates a basic luck, there's no need to take it too seriously. Xiaohan smiled faintly and said in a low voice. I always believe that my fate is in the hands of man and not the heavens. Zhangsun Wuhan turned around and looked deeply at Xiaohan. His eyes were filled with fear and vigilance. The destiny game continued. After Xiaohan, it was Xiao Yunrong, Huafan, and Mo Qingtong's turn. In this round, Mo Qingtong's process was full of ups and downs. When she hit the die of fate for the first time, she hit a black punishment card and took a full 20 steps back. She was confused and didn't know what to do. However, after taking 20 steps back, she managed to escape death by stepping on a reward card and advancing 14 steps. Then, her luck took a turn for the better. She stepped on 3 reward cards in a row, allowing her to compete bravely. In the end, she landed in an excellent spot 30 steps away from the shore and ended the round with a treasure card. She had obtained a divine technique manual, the Heaven Shrouding Palm. Xiao Yunrong fought steadily and got 2 reward cards. She was 61 steps away from reaching the shore. After the previous round, Huo Wumei was already very close to the shore. She was only 40 steps away. She continued to work hard in this round and stepped on 2 reward cards, leaping past Fatty Zhu and ranking behind Xiaofan. She was 18 steps away from the shore. Junior brother Xiaofan. Huo Wu clenched her fists and waved at Xiaofan excitedly. In this round, not only did Xiaofan's luck skyrocket, even his companions had achieved a great victory too, causing the young geniuses of the Demon Hero region to clench their teeth in anger. He began to ponder in secret, Xiaofan's companions should all die. He's definitely going to die. Xiaofan killed so many of our junior brothers and junior sisters, and he even killed junior sister Shengguan in front of everyone. All the contestants related to Xiaofan must die. Even the punishment. Bear with it for now. When we pass the 3rd round, we'll discuss with eldest senior brother. In the 4th round, we must kill Xiaofan no matter what. Xiaofan's combat strength is terrifying. As long as he doesn't die, he will always be a big problem for us. Don't worry. When eldest senior brother cultivates the ancient Buddha divine technique and opens his eyes, Xiaofan will die. No matter how strong his flesh shell is, which is comparable to a divine beast cub, it won't help. He can't withstand eldest senior brother's gaze. When eldest senior brother opens his eyes, the mountains and rivers will turn to ashes. Xiaofan will be killed in an instant. The 4th round of the Game of Fate. The situation was getting clearer. The young generation of the Demon Hero region caught up and stepped on the reward cards and treasure cards one after another. They were all close to the shore, most of them were only about 30 steps away, and none of them were expelled or killed, showing the prosperity of this generation. It was like the sun in the sky. Some of the elites of the Great Wilderness and the East region were also unwilling to be left behind, and they advanced step by step. Tang Feipeng and Xian Qi, who had participated in the previous Demon Hero trial, also advanced with irresistible force and were infinitely close to the shore. If there were no accidents, they would be able to pass the round easily. It was worth mentioning that the Crown Prince of the Spirited Mountain and Tian of the southern region had experienced a lot of hardships. After going through 3 rounds, it was obvious that their luck had turned for the better in the 4th round. Tian was only 31 steps away from the shore. The Crown Prince of the Spirited Mountain was even more monstrous. He hit several reward cards in a row and was immediately ranked behind Xiaohan and before Huobo, He. Xiaohan, it seems that the young generation of the southern region is quite lucky. The Crown Prince of the Spirited Mountain took the initiative to smile at Xiaohan. There are only 7 of us left in the southern region. However, it seems that the 7 of us have a high chance of passing the 3rd round and entering the final round. It's not easy. The Crown Prince of the Spirited Mountain sighed. Before this, he had always been hostile and murderous towards Xiaohan. But now, he had changed from arrogance to humility and even seemed to be trying to please Xiaohan. He said seriously. Xiaohan, we are all from the southern region. Why don't we join forces and attack and defend together? How about this, the 7 of us from the southern region will form a small team in the 4th round and advance and retreat together. Xiaohan, as you can see, Tian's and my luck is not bad. We should be qualified to form an alliance with you, right? Heh. Xiaohan smiled noncommittally. Let's talk about it after we pass the 3rd round. After saying that, Xiaohan turned his head away. His attitude towards the crown prince of the spirited mountain was indifferent. From Xiaofan's attitude, the crown prince of the spirited mountain felt a great indifference. It was a trace of rejection. His eyes moved slightly and his pupils contracted. An obscure murderous intent flashed and disappeared. The number one genius of the eastern region, Zhangsun Wuhan, was only 5 steps away from the shore. There was no dramatic reversal for him. He hit the die of fate very smoothly and directly hit a 5. He took 5 steps forward and set foot on the shore. Phew! I finally reached the shore. Zhangsun Wuhan let out a long sigh of relief. His whole body was wrapped in auspicious clouds and auspicious air. Flowers fell from the sky and golden lotuses sprouted from the ground. Celestial music was playing everywhere. The wind was faint and the shadows of auspicious beasts and birds appeared. He became the second contestant to pass the 3rd round. As soon as he passed, Zhangsun Wuhan looked at Garin, the leader of the younger generation of the Devil Hero region. He thought for a few breaths and walked directly to Garin and whispered a few words. Garin remained calm and nodded slightly. Zhangsun Wuhan sat cross-legged beside Garin and rested. The crown prince of the great wilderness became the 3rd contestant to pass. His journey was smooth sailing. He stepped on a reward card and set foot on the shore. After passing, the crown prince of the great wilderness sat alone with his legs crossed. He seemed a little sad and lonely. He stood alone with a sense of arrogance. After the crown prince of the great wilderness, several children of the great wilderness passed. They all crowded around the crown prince of the great wilderness and followed his lead. One by one, the contestants with good luck began to set foot on the shore and officially passed. It was no exaggeration to say that these contestants who passed represented the strongest luck of the younger generation in the world today. The first 3 rounds of this year's Hex trial tested the contestants' ability to distinguish demonic aura, will, psychological quality, and combat capability respectively. Even the test of luck, which had never appeared in previous years, appeared in this year's competition. This also made it possible for the geniuses who could stand out and become Hex heroes in this year's competition to have a promising future. They completely possessed the qualities and potential to become excellent Hex heroes. Of course, whether or not they could become Devil heroes depended on the final assessment. It was Fatty Zhu's turn to hit the die of destiny. Fatty Zhu was only 23 steps away from reaching the shore. It made him a little worried and anxious. Fatty, your luck is extremely good. It's unlikely that anything will go wrong. Yes, believe in your fate. Xiaofan encouraged. Fatty Zhu nodded heavily. As expected, after Fatty Zhu hit a 6, he stepped on another lucky card and passed. Fatty Zhu's entire body was surrounded by divine light and auspicious clouds. His entire body was shining as he cried out in joy, "Ah! That's great! That's great! I, Fatty, passed too! I, Fatty, passed too! This bridge of destiny is too terrifying. Fatty swears that he will never play the destiny game again. Ha ha ha! Boss, it's your turn next. You will definitely pass too. Fatty will wait for you to reach the shore." Once again, it was Xiaofan's turn to choose his own fate. Xiaofan was 12 steps away from reaching the shore. Before hitting the die of destiny, Xiaofan's gaze swept across the entire place. Almost every contestant who had yet to reach the shore felt their hair stand on end when they met Xiaofan's gaze. This fellow's luck is ferocious. He devours the fate of others. Could he have stepped on the narrow path card again in this round? I hope this fellow can pass the test obediently and stop stirring up trouble. If he steps on the narrow path card, it's equivalent to harming others. Many contestants actually began to pray for Xiaofan. They hoped that Xiaofan would be able to smoothly step on the reward card and pass the test. Please don't stir up trouble and ruin the future of others. Perhaps it was because too many people were praying devoutly, resulting in the production of wish power. Xiaofan knocked out a 2-point, but after taking 2 steps, a reward card appeared. It rewarded Xiaofan with 10 steps forward, just enough to pass. Phew, this demon has passed. This is great. He won't harm others anymore. The heavens have pity on him. The contestants felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. Destiny was like a dragon, coiling around Xiaofan. Immortal music overflowed in all directions. Ah! Boss, Fatty said that you would definitely pass. Fatty Zhu jumped in front of Xiaofan, dancing with joy. Heh! Fatty, don't be too complacent. Be careful that extreme joy turns to sorrow. If you want to become a demon hero, you still have to go through the final test. Right now, no one knows what the final test is. Perhaps it will be even more cruel and abnormal than this destiny game. Xiaofan sighed and shook his head. He swept his gaze across and saw that there were still many contestants squirming and struggling on the Rainbow Bridge of Destiny, waiting for the judgment of fate. Now that I think about this destiny game, I still feel a little scared. But at least I got through it. Xiaofan's body and mind also became relaxed and lazy. He conveniently sat on the ground and yawned. After Xiaofan, Xiao Yunrong, Huafan, and Mo Qingtong also passed. The 5th round of the destiny game. In this round, more contestants passed. The Crown Prince of the Spiritual Mountain and Tian Yuan from the southern region both passed together. Leng Ruyu nodded slightly. In today's world, a group of young people with the strongest destiny has been born. Their combat strength and mental quality are also extraordinary. This 3rd test is coming to an end. They are about to face the 4th test. I wonder how many people will become demon heroes in the end. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.